Our power is in our voice. Our power, it's in our thoughts. Our power is in our actions. Our power, it's already innate in who we are. We are the earth. We are the sky. We are the trees. We are our ancestors. We are the future generations. We are all that is.
I was jamming out to those great tunes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 4 of the People's Reset 2026. Today is all about empowering technology. If I get everybody's attention up here, ladies and gentlemen, we got a jam-packed afternoon with even more speakers that are going to teach you about some awesome tools and technologies you can leverage in order to create greater freedom. Shout out to the online virtual audience. We love you and we appreciate you being here today. We'd love it if you were here in 2027 because in addition to all the great talks, we're having a great time dancing and sharing meals together and networking and mixing it up and going out on walks and hanging out for the workshop. So we love you being here virtually, but the real magic is in person. That's where the true connection is made. One thing that's really cool about this event and really about Derek's work and a lot of our works really is we're mixing in a really spiritual, conscious component. It's not just about taking action. It's about taking action from a rooted and grounded place. And we're going to bring Miriam up here to share about this ofrenda and this beautiful space here. I've been munching on the fruit all weekend. I'm just kidding. Miriam Gomez, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause for helping to organize this event.
Thank you, John. Just very quickly, I just wanted to let you know and remind you that we do have this beautiful activated altar right here for all of you. If you would like to make an offering to it, if you would like to show up, and if there's something on your heart, on your mind that's weighing on you, you are more than welcome to write it down on a little piece of paper and burn it. And then we'll have a little bowl right here for you for the ashes. Also, too, it's another good way to simply reground yourself, reconnect, regenerate, and feel regenerated once again and refreshed as well, since we are, 4 days in. So make sure that you use this beautiful prayer for yourself and receive the blessings that it has here for you. Thank you guys again.
Get it for Miriam, ladies and gentlemen. Woo, 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 woo. It sure does take a lot of work to put this event on, and they are just so serving with their time and energy, and we're extremely grateful for them. Okay, while we await our next presenter, I wanted to share a quick story on the importance of cryptocurrency technology and alternative currencies in general. Could be precious metals also. We heard from the Quartal guys, and I polled the audience to see who feels uncomfortable setting up a crypto wallet. And then I polled that same crowd to say who's actually made an attempt. And a significant chunk had not even tried. And again, we're not trying to shame anybody or make anybody feel bad. Maybe create a little internal friction within you, to be honest, is what I actually am trying to do. But I just want to illustrate the importance, okay? Because we're all well aware that the predator class aims to create central bank digital currencies. And a lot of us are also like, well, the CBDCs are coming down the pike. It's not something that's here now, so we have time. In all reality, as Aaron Day illustrates very well in his work, he's spoke at the People's Reset a couple times. The most worrisome aspects of central bank digital currencies, centralization, surveillance, censorship, getting shut out of accounts, that's in large part already here. And I know from personal experience, because I've had a bank account shut down for my kratom and cannabis business. And it wasn't even because of the kratom. It was because I was selling CBD. And Donald Trump had just passed the farm bill in the U.S., and the state of Texas just passed a hemp bill legalizing hemp, which is what CBD is derived from. But the bank still decided to unbank me. And when they called, I got a call from the branch manager at the downtown office. I pictured a Karen haircut. No offense to any Karens in the audience or anyone with Karen haircuts. We love you. We know that you're the good kind of Karen. But I imagine this lady there, oh, we're no longer going to do business with you. That's what they always say. And I said, this is why I've been a fan of Bitcoin for quite some time, because there's no branch manager downtown to call me and shut my account down. And she replied by saying, well, if we knew you were into Bitcoin, we would have shut your account down a long time ago. So the threat is very real. And I'll share, it's not the first account to get shut down. Part of the work that I do when things happen, like my entire talk yesterday, when things happen that are kind of challenging, I'm like, this is going to make a great story to share and to teach. This is going to make a great email. Well, just the day that I got here, or the day before I left, I got a call from a bank that I bank with my private realm trust. And they too said they no longer want to do business with me because I wouldn't show them the contents of the trust, because it's a private trust. You're supposed to keep it private. My point is, when we rely and depend on financial institutions and monetary systems that are beyond our control, that we actually really have no control over, we're putting ourselves in a very vulnerable spot. And so for those of you that are feeling hesitant to learn a technology like Monero or Zano or Quartal, I just want to reiterate, choose your hard. It's going to be hard to learn if you feel uncomfortable with technology. It's also going to be hard to be unbanked when the government and the predator class continues to tighten their grip around us, because that's the strategy they employ. Let's get them to do things that we want them to do, that we know they don't want to do, like take a shot or comply with some carbon mechanism. And if they don't do it, let's make life difficult for them. Gee, Mr. Satanic pedophile predator class guy, how can we possibly do that? Well, people sure rely on buying and selling goods and services quite a bit. Maybe we can team up with our good friend Satan, and just like was written in the book of Revelations, we can require a mark in order to buy and sell. That sounds like a fine idea. How about we trick them into enjoying it and thinking it's more convenient and they could save money? Boy, I think we're onto something now. We know that's exactly the type of conversations that they're having in the back alleys, but even though we know, there's still people that aren't taking action. I totally get it. We have lives, we're busy, it's hard to make the time, but I bet the same folks that haven't yet tried to set up a crypto wallet have a favorite Netflix show or a favorite Rumble channel they watch all the time, or maybe they like to have a drink here and there. So I just want to encourage you guys to take that action, make it a priority, put it into your life. Okay, all right, so that's my little pep talk, guys. We know it's coming, but we don't act. There's a reason why we don't act, and I just want to encourage people to be real with yourself. Identify what that reason is. I don't want to mess it up. I'll feel uncomfortable. I think I might lose money if I start trying. I'll mess it up, or I don't make the time. Really, I don't have the time is really I don't make it a priority. So just recognize what those reasons are and then work to overcome them, because nothing is more important than taking action on what you're learning at this conference. Okay? Are y'all with me? All right. So those of you that raised your hand and said, I haven't even tried, you're going to try? Yeah, my people, let's go. All right, our next presenter is somebody that is well-versed in the world of crypto, and they're going to teach you a radical strategy that you can employ that essentially leaves the banks out altogether. So you don't have to worry about branch manager calls or high interest rates or any craziness. Now, it's not without risk. Nothing is without risk, but Dave here is going to take you on a journey down the radical world of decentralized finance. Let's get it up for Dave, ladies and gentlemen. The DeFi guy.
All right, John Bush, ladies and gentlemen, come on now. This is the OG here. Hey, listen, I want to talk a little bit about this magic internet money stuff. But before I do, a brief testimonial to this event and this Freedom Cells organization. I, too, like many of you, was kind of frustrated with my government, the people around me who seemed to not see the things that I was seeing, feeling a little bit crazy, white knuckling it, in my case, in California during the fantastic scamdemic we all lived through. And I thought I was alone, especially in that part of the world. And I ended up going to an event in Northern California, saw Derek, saw Miriam, and not only them, but 100 people came to hear that talk about exit and build. This was in Mendocino, deep in Hippie County. And for the first time in a couple of years, I didn't feel alone, and it felt really good. So I went and I talked with them afterwards. You just stole my water. You gonna add some LSD to it? What are you gonna do, man? All right, we'll have an extra fun talk. He told me about exit and build. And I said, all right, I'm ready to exit. Where do I go build? He said, go to Texas, see a man named John Bush. So I moved to Central Texas, and I found a whole bunch of Freedom Cells there. And I really learned that exit and build is more than just exiting systems that we don't believe in. It's building new ones that we do. These parallel societies, these parallel economies. And so one of the things that I had already been involved with for quite a while was crypto. Just briefly, I had started my adventure in 2011. I wanted to play online poker. My government said, you can't do that anymore because you're a free man, except when it comes to certain things. So I found this thing called Bitcoin at $2, and I played a bunch of online poker with it. And then later on, it turned out to be a lot more important than that. Fell down that crypto rabbit hole. Was there in San Francisco building some tech companies when Ethereum launched and a bunch of smart contract chains launched. And I knew that this was something really powerful. So if we can start with the beginning of my slides there, sir, Mr. Romero, thank you. I ended up working at Kraken, which is a crypto exchange, for a number of years, and building kind of trading tools for cryptocurrency. But to me, even though that company I feel is very reputable, something was missing. And the entire point, the entire ethos of crypto, I'll get a little graphic. It's fuck you money. It's you can't take this from me money. And with Ethereum, with a bunch of smart contracts, we had suddenly fuck you programs and fuck you institutions. We didn't need banks anymore. We didn't need the messaging platforms. We didn't need any centralized anything. You've heard a lot of people talk about different decentralized protocols and blockchains. And so I'm not going to tell you guys the best coin to buy or the best blockchain. You guys do your own research. I have my favorites. You may have yours. But at the end of the day, to me, crypto and DeFi as an extension is really an invention as important as the wheel, as fire, because for the first time in human history, we don't need a third party, a trusted government institution, authority, bank, overlord, seer, to handle those transactions. For the first time, I can send $1 trillion across the world for a fraction of a penny and not have any risk that that's going to disappear or be stolen. Now, I don't have $1 trillion, spoiler, and now I don't think any of us here do. But the point is, we don't need, for the first time in human history, think about that. Even the social media platforms, crypto is information, money is information, speech is information. And we've had to rely on intermediaries, not only financially with banks, with governments, but, Facebook, Twitter. We need some person, organization somewhere in the middle to make sure everything runs on time. And what we find over and over again, financially, with speech, with any number of institutionally approved or managed platforms, is that there is a censorious effect, that they can censor your financial transactions, your speech. And so to me, DeFi is this natural iteration of not what coin do you want to buy, and hopefully the number of that coin goes up and then you have more money than you did before. To me, it's what can we do with this? What are the programs that we can access that allow us, regardless if Bitcoin is 10,000 or 10 million, what can we do with it? Ethereum could be 2,000 or 20,000, but I can go right now and I can transact financially or with speech, and I don't have to worry about being censored or being told no, or being told that we need to fill out some KYC form. So today I want to focus specifically on decentralized finance, and I want to try to take a little bit of the mystery out. We could get really technical. I'm not going to. But I will get a little technical, and what we'll do is we'll kind of look at DeFi like an onion, and we will try to peel back the layers of this onion bit by bit and show just a little bit of the things you can do. And hopefully it inspires you to go, oh, that looks cool. I want to go dig down and learn more. So to kind of start, let's start with, I guess, really a definition here. It says recording error, but I'm going to trust that we're good on this. All right. So decentralized finance it's a full suite of financial protocols. They live on blockchains. You can do anything you could do with a bank. You can lend, you can borrow, futures, think stocks, think options, any number of ways that you can grow your wealth. But instead of having to go to Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade or Bank of America, or wherever your bank is, to go through this and have your government watch exactly what you do, you can do this right now. You can do this at 3 in the morning in the privacy of your bed by clicking a few buttons on your device, and you don't need permission from anybody. So what's cool about this is it's completely permissionless. You don't need any approval from an account. You don't have to give any of your personal information to do this. And if your country has somehow scared the developers of these front ends to put a block on your country, you can just use a VPN and access it anyway. It's trustless, it's autonomous. Like I said, I can send this gentleman $10,000 right now, and I know that if I have his address and he knows my address, that's it. There's nothing that's going to stop that. That's really powerful. And I say that it's less risky than using traditional financial institutions, because with the traditional financial institutions, you always have to worry that they're going to either A, seize your funds. Hi, Canadian truckers. Did you protest the wrong thing? Did you use your freedom of speech a little too much? Or, oh, we didn't think you paid enough tax. We're going to seize that out of your account. In crypto, there's something called not your keys, not your coins. So whenever you have your money in a bank account or in a brokerage account, or trading a stock or buying or selling futures, whatever it is that you're doing, you're essentially trusting that, okay, that money's going to be there when I go to take it out. And you know what? It usually is, except sometimes. I don't like this sometimes. I like to know that it's always going to be there, that I always have access to my money because it's mine. So part of DeFi is being your own sovereign bank. It's realizing that there is literally nothing that you can do in the traditional finance system that you can't also do with one of, at this point, thousands and thousands of DeFi protocols that live on blockchains. A few years ago, there was some risk about, are they going to get hacked? Are these smart contracts going to be exploited? And we had a little bit of that, and that was scary. And some people lost money. But at this point, a couple, more than a couple, quite a lot of key players have kind of risen, and they're using smart contracts that have been audited 1,000 times over. They've had billions and hundreds of billions of dollars funneled through them. If they were going to get hacked at this point, they would have been hacked. So I'd say that, again, more trustworthy than traditional finance. And let's start to peel back the layers of this DeFi onion here, one by one, and show you some of the things you can do. A few prerequisites first. One, you got to get some crypto. I don't care what it is. I like Bitcoin. That's cool. You do you. I'm sure a lot of us already have it or are familiar enough with how to get it. I would say, however you get it, ideally, you're getting it from a buddy, peer-to-peer, or go to an ATM, a Bitcoin ATM, and try to do it without attaching your identity. But at the end of the day, it's the building block here. So whatever you want to get, Bitcoin, Ethereum are two big ones. I'll refer to those a lot, not because I'm trying to pitch that to you guys, but just because those seem to be the most popular. Once you have it, though, you really need, if you get it on an exchange, for instance, you need to transfer it to your own private wallet. John was just talking about self-custody. At this point, this is very easy. You can go download an app like Edge, sponsor here, or like the Cake Wallet. I like Exodus too. These are things where you can tell Coinbase or Kraken or whoever, yes, I would like to withdraw the crypto that I bought and send it to my own private custody. At that point, it's on you. You have to protect your private keys. There is, sovereignty can be a little scary, but just like you lock your gold up or, protect your guns from some unauthorized access, think the same way with your private keys. So you got some crypto, you got it in self-custody. At that point, nobody can touch it or take it from you. And the only other thing you need before you start interacting with these DeFi protocols is you need the ability to, when you go to these various websites for these crypto DeFi protocols, you basically need to be able to interact with the smart contracts of those protocols. And so the third step is getting some sort of browser wallet. So I recommend Brave is a good browser. Probably a lot of you guys use it. It kind of strips out a lot of the spam and the tracking that happens with most websites. And you can go to the official store and get the browser extensions. Two big ones that I recommend are Rabby, rabby.io, and MetaMask. It's a little old school, a little clunky. People like Rabby. It's a little bit more user-friendly. Just make sure when you download this extension, it's the one that has, hundreds or thousands of, reviews. It's not, somebody's, in their basement just created something that looked like it for 5 minutes or something. And once you have that in your browser, you're able to kind of add your private keys from your self-custody wallet. We just talked about getting your assets on your own wallet. And now you've got the ability to use your assets in DeFi protocols. And so now that you're all ready to go here, let's start getting into trouble. There are different layers of DeFi, and they come from small yield, where you earn a little bit on your assets and have very, very little risk, to very big yield or very big losses, and you have a lot of risk. So each one of us has our own risk tolerance, how comfortable we are. Some people, I would say that 0% risk or, 0.1% risk is I bought some crypto. I like the coin that I like. I don't want to do anything with it. I just want it to sit there, and then maybe number will go up one day and I'll have more money. And that's one threshold. The other threshold is I want to take my, shitcoin X and I want to get 10,000X leverage on this. And if it goes down a penny, I'll get wiped out. But if it goes up 5 cents, man, I'm going to be a millionaire. And that's another level of risk and another level of reward. So we'll start from the easy and we'll go to the hard. And somewhere in there, you'll find a level that's comfortable for you. So probably the lowest reward, but also the lowest risk is this concept called staking. Certain crypto tokens, like Ethereum, like Cosmos, like Polkadot, there are many, like Cardano, they're a proof of stake blockchain. And so you get a reward of a few percent, 3-4% maybe, up to 10-12% for some of these chains, in exchange for basically staking your token to that network, which helps the validation of that network. It's a bunch of technical stuff we won't get into here, but it's very low risk and it's very low reward. But if, for instance, you like Ethereum and you're just going to sit on your Ethereum and watch that number go up, why not stake some of your Ethereum and make 3% more on top of, so that number goes up, great, you have 3% more than that number. That number goes down, you have 3% more than the low number that you're now at. Either way, you're gaining a little bit more. And I'd say it's like interest in a bank account, at least back in the days when you could get interest in a bank account, right? Now they're fighting the stablecoin legislation where the banks don't want to let the stablecoin issuers offer the interest, because then people will, oh my God, they'll pull their money out of their banks and go get 5% from stablecoin interest instead of getting 0.05%, letting it sit in their bank accounts. But this is probably the easiest way, but it only applies to certain crypto. Not all crypto has the ability to stake, but the ones that do, it's essentially free money. There's also this concept of liquid staking or restaking. This is where it gets a little bit more advanced, where instead of just taking, for instance, my Ethereum and staking it for 3%, I can stake my Ethereum and get 2.9%. And in return, I get a token that is, for instance, staked Ethereum, which that now trades at roughly the exact same price as Ethereum. But instead of that Ethereum being locked up, you can use that for other things. There's this concept in DeFi called money Legos, where you're able to stack. They're composable protocols, so you're able to stack the various layers of yield. So instead of just taking our Ethereum and locking it up for a few percent, we can lock it up for a few percent and then take that derivative and go do other things in DeFi with it and hopefully create, while we're earning this 3%, we can try to chase more yield with that. So let's go peeling back another layer of the DeFi onion here to the second level, which is decentralized exchanges or DEXs and LPs or liquidity pools. So one of the core building blocks of DeFi is, instead of needing to go to Kraken, Coinbase, to trade your shitty, debased, government slave fiat money to beautiful, pristine crypto collateral, once you actually have some of that crypto and you want to swap it from one crypto to another crypto, maybe you want to sell it, but instead of selling it back to your fiat slave money, you want to sell it to some sort of stable coin. You think the price of Bitcoin is going to go down. Spoiler alert, it has quite a lot today already. But instead of selling it back to your bank account and generating taxable transactions, and again, having to go through that centralized exchange, we can say, you know what, we don't need Coinbase or Kraken anymore. We're going to use a decentralized exchange, and we're going to sell our Bitcoin for some kind of stable coin. And then maybe When Bitcoin goes down farther, we use those stable coins and we buy back that Bitcoin or that Ethereum or whatever the asset is that you had sold. And at no point have we had to give our ID or be tracked by a government or create a taxable transactions, although, of course, you should definitely always pay your taxes. I said that because I'm on camera, guys. Come on. And I always do. What? What are you talking about? John Bush, ladies and gentlemen. So you can use a decentralized exchange instead. And the reason decentralized exchanges are so popular is not only don't you need any permission to use them, but unlike a regular exchange, which says, great, we're going to hold all these assets and we're going to let people trade and we're going to take a cut. A decentralized exchange says, we're not going to hold any assets. We're going to let humans who already have these assets pool them and let other humans trade those assets. And we're going to send the transaction fees, which are already 10 times lower than using a regular centralized exchange. We're going to send those to the people who are actually providing the assets. So one way to make some yield out of your crypto assets is to lend them essentially to a decentralized exchange, let other people trade them, and you create some fees for yourself. You essentially become the house. So instead of sitting on your Ethereum, you can let a decentralized exchange trade that, other people trade that through the decentralized exchange, and then you earn some fees on that. And so from our first example, where you might have taken your Ethereum and staked it and gotten a staked Ethereum token, you can lend that staked Ethereum token to a liquidity pool on a decentralized exchange. You guys with me? And let people trade that. And so now you're already earning that 3%, and now you're earning a few more percent in trading fees on those assets. So now we've stacked 2 layers of yield on the same exact asset that up until 20 minutes ago when I started my talk was just sitting there in your account, looking pretty, and hopefully the number goes up before it goes down too far. But now while that's happening, we're able to actually create another few percent of yield on that. I'll do a big caveat here for the risks of this, which is some liquidity pools, if you, for instance, they're usually pooled assets. So you'll have Ethereum and a stable coin, or a Bitcoin derivative and Ethereum. If the price of these things moves too far in one direction or the other, for instance, if you have Ethereum going down a lot in price while the stable coin it's paired with obviously stays around stable price, you will lose a small percent of that Ethereum. The other way, though, if Ethereum goes up a bunch, it's the other way around. As the ratio moves the other way, if Ethereum moves up too far from the other asset, you'll lose a bit of the Ethereum. If it goes down, it's as if you were selling a little along the way, so you won't lose as much. So it's one way or the other. You're either going to gain a little or lose a little as the ratio between those tokens changes. And so that's a long way of saying if you want to reduce your risk when playing this decentralized exchange game, you want to contribute assets to pools that are similar assets. So for instance, a pool that has 2 or 3 different stable coins, they're all going to pretty much stay about the same. In the case of US dollar stable coins, you might have USDC and Tether and 1 or 2 others in a pool. They're all going to stay about $1. You put, 1,000 USDC into a pool, and you start to earn a percent of yield as other people are trading their USDC to Tether to this other stable coin. Or in the example of Ethereum, maybe it's an Ethereum and a staked Ethereum pool. Both of those assets will stay pretty much at the exact same price of whatever Ethereum is at that moment. So as Ethereum goes up, all the assets in the pool go up. As Ethereum goes down, all the assets go down. You don't experience that impermanent loss, but you do earn the trading fees. So if you're going to do this, I would just say be aware that you probably want to watch that level of risk. But if you're in a pool that has the same type of asset, you're not going to experience that impermanent loss, but you will still stack that yield. So a few of the bigger ones that I enjoy are Curve, Sushi, Uniswap, or some of the bigger decentralized exchanges. You can actually just go to those websites. You can see all the liquidity pools. You can go to, connect your wallet, and if you have, for instance, Ethereum, you can supply it to a liquidity pool that takes Ethereum. You can see right on there kind of the APY that you would expect to earn over time. And so this is just one other thing that you can do to get some yield. All right. I feel like I'm losing some of you. That woman's asleep over there. It's tech day, ma'am. But we're going to peel back one more layer. Level 3. This is where it gets fun. All right. Lending and leverage. This is also how you get really hurt. People that want to say, I really like this asset. I like Ethereum at $3,000. I think it's going to $5,000. So I want to get 2x, 3x, 5x, 100x leverage on my Ethereum. And then as we saw today, it goes down several $100s. You can actually get really hurt doing this, or you can experience more reward. So this is why this is farther in the DeFi stack, because you need to know what is an appropriate level of risk. There's also an appropriate level of leverage. It's one thing to say, I'm going to get 100x leverage on my thing, and if it goes down a little bit, I'm screwed. But maybe you just take like 2x leverage, 3x leverage, something where it's like, okay, if it drops $500 overnight, I'm going to lose some of the value, but I'm not going to get wiped out. I'm still going to have those assets. And in a really volatile market like we have right now, it's probably a good idea to, John and I were over here earlier, actually reducing the leverage on our leveraged positions because things were moving so fast. We're like, and even me, I was at home before this getting ready. Things were moving so quickly that I was like, all right, well, I want to get liquidated while I'm in the middle of my talk talking about DeFi. That would be really embarrassing. So I'm going to reduce a lot of this leverage, and hopefully it won't have moved too far. Don't tell me. Spoiler. Don't tell me. But what you basically do to get leverage on a position or to lend or to borrow is to say, okay, I'm going to take Ethereum at $2,500, and I'm going to put it in one of these leverage protocols, and I'm going to take out a loan against that. So if you have a $2,500 asset like Ethereum, you don't want to take out $2,400 against it, because then if the price moves down a little bit, it gets liquidated. But maybe you take out $1,000 against it. And you can do any number of things. You can go, buy solar panels. You can pay a bill. You can, do a car repair. Or you can buy more Ethereum, and you can put it in as more collateral. Now you have $3,500 of Ethereum and $1,000 of debt. And then maybe you want to take out another 1,000 and loop it. And that's how you're able to kind of loop these positions. You do it all trustlessly. You can do it yourself. You don't need permission. You don't need an account. You have the assets. You connect to the website or the protocol, and you do it. And you find out what the comfortable level of risk is. I say to people who want to say, I think the price is going to keep going down, I'm going to sell my asset X. I say, well, okay, if you're going to sell it at this price, then why not just take out a loan against that asset for 95% of that value? And if you're right and it keeps going down in price, guess what? That asset gets liquidated. You no longer have to pay that loan back because the asset paid the loan for you. And it's as if you kind of sold it. But if the asset turns around and goes back up, we don't want to sell the bottom, then guess what? You still actually have that asset. And at some point in the future, you could pay that loan back, get that asset back, and you won't have actually sold it. So this is a way to kind of trick yourself when you're kind of feeling spooked and you think the market's going to keep crashing. Instead of selling, is to take out a loan against it. And then if you were right, guess what? You sold it anyway. If you were wrong and it goes and turns back around, you still have the asset. Because the nature of these things are, these protocols basically allow you to fund your own loans. And the protocols work by saying, okay, if the price moves too far one direction or the other, we will automatically seize that collateral, auction it off, pay for that loan, and that's how it's handled in real time. So in a way, this is actually more efficient than a bank. It's the same thing you would do with a bank. You put up your car title, your mortgage, you take out a second mortgage. You're basically using some real world asset and you're taking out a loan against it. And typically the bank will have certain things in place like, okay, you can only take out a certain percent against this. But what happens when it moves too far? Same thing with stocks. Sometimes you are trading on leverage there and you get a margin call. You got to add more assets or else, and you get a big black mark and then you can't use the system anymore. DeFi just manages all that. It says, cool, price moved too much. You didn't add more. You didn't repay enough in time. We sold the thing. Great. You're welcome to just keep using the protocol with other assets if you want. So there's not like a reputational thing that follows you. There's not a credit score. If you mess up, you'll lose those assets, but you can just keep trying new things. When I started doing DeFi years ago, I definitely won and lost a lot of money just in education. I was taking higher risks at the time. Now I'm taking much lower risks. My risk tolerance is actually pretty low, but even in a climate with a pretty low risk tolerance like I have, when the market moves as crazily as it has the last few months, it still puts that under stress. And so I can only imagine the people that, you read in the headlines, today, $10 billion of crypto was wiped out in an hour, that kind of a thing. That's because people are piling in on leverage, and these protocols do what they do, which is kind of clear the books every time the price moves too far. So I gave you some warnings about, excessive leverage. The one kind of unique thing is this concept of a flash crash. And I don't know if you guys follow crypto at all. There was a really crazy event, October 10th, just 3 or 4 months ago, where some centralized exchanges did some stuff, ... What happened is a lot of the big market makers on these decentralized exchanges freaked out. They pulled all their money out of the liquidity pools. And you had, for a brief moment, this black swan event where not the big collateral like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but you can use any crypto as collateral. You can use shitcoin X as collateral to take out a loan against. And if shitcoin X is worth 10 cents and you have a zillion of them, that's a lot. You can use it as collateral. You can take out a loan. But then in a flash crash, a lot of these smaller assets for like 1 minute, lost 90%, 95% of their value and then bounced right back. But in that, all these DeFi protocols liquidated a ton of people who are using not the most pristine blue chip assets. And so even though shitcoin X was worth 10 cents and then 5 minutes later it was worth 8 cents, and you had it all set up where as long as it stayed above 4 cents, you were fine, for 1 minute, that went from 10 to 1 to 8. And so people got liquidated. This is a risk of DeFi. And the lesson there is typically you only want to use the bigger Bitcoin, Ethereum, stable coins as collateral for these types of loans and leverage because of the risk of a flash crash. Now, that's only happened once in the past several years, but I and a lot of people were surprised when we saw, oh, wait, I thought I had this position. It's gone. What happened? And that really destroys some of the trust. So it's not that the protocol failed or that it got hacked, is that it was actually working exceedingly well. It's like being in a casino and you lose a monster hand of blackjack and the dealer just very quickly and efficiently just takes everybody's money off the table. It was the right thing. It was the right play. We all hate it, but it happened the way it was supposed to happen. So just be aware that's another risk when doing this kind of stuff, that you only probably want to use the big assets. All right, we're going to go. Now we're already at a much higher level of risk and much higher level of reward, but there's still a level or two more. So let's get into futures and derivatives. This is something that starts to blend the line between stuff up to this point, all the things we've talked about. You could use your bank account, your brokerage account to do a lot of these types of things. And even futures. The futures are a thing that are a traditional financial instrument. Everything that lives in the New York Stock Exchange also lives on a blockchain somewhere. But there's also new stuff happening that isn't even happening. I think if you, let's say you like the NASDAQ, you like tech stocks, you can go buy an ETF that's like 3x NASDAQ, it's really bullish, or a 3x inverse. We talked earlier, you can get a 100x or 1000x, but more than that now, you can take out leverage on your futures positions using certain protocols. And there are new protocols that automatically rebalance for you. So for instance, you could buy, instead of that 3x NASDAQ ETF, you could buy a crypto asset that tracks NASDAQ and automatically builds in 10x leverage to that, and then automatically balances that. So as you get close to being liquidated, it automatically, for instance, sells half your position, and then it lowers your liquidation line. And then as it keeps going down, it'll sell another half. And then as it goes back up, it'll buy back half. These really unique kind of, they feel kind of degenerate, but there's a beauty to it in that it automates the types of things we do anyway. If we're going to get into these financial derivative games, we would have to manually kind of do ourselves with our token terminal for our traditional stocks, or even traditional DeFi protocols. Now there are protocols that basically use the composability, and they layer and stack multiple protocols underneath and manage them in certain ways so that at the end of the day, I'm going to use an asset, I'm going to buy this token that does all these magic things, and you can see what those magic things are, and you can see that they're stacked on all these other protocols. There's an efficiency here that doesn't even exist in traditional markets. And so while you can earn a lot, you can lose a lot, but DeFi kind of makes a lot of this stuff possible. So I threw a few out here. Feel free to research this if you want. GMX and Hyperliquid are two kind of futures protocols where you can, bet on the direction of something and you can add leverage to that. There are even tokenized stocks there. So let's say you love Tesla. You could just buy Tesla through your brokerage account, but you could also buy Tesla as a tokenized version of it and add 20x leverage to it if you wanted to, using crypto, not requiring any permission, not requiring a brokerage or KYC. And so again, it's like whatever you want to do, even in the traditional finance world that has nothing to do with crypto, you can also find mirrored in some DeFi protocol. There's something called Pendle, which is really interesting, which it basically says, we're going to take an asset and we're going to turn it into two assets, the underlying asset and the future yield on an asset. And we're going to let people trade and take leverage on just the asset or just the yield. This is getting more in the weeds, but I want to impress upon you that you can basically, if you can imagine a thing that you would think that maybe I would want to try that, somebody's already built a protocol. They've already integrated it with one of these blue chip DeFi protocols, and you can actually do it. And it all starts from that core seed of being able to take your assets, put them into your own private custody, and interact with these websites. All right, we're going to the last layer here, guys. And I'll kind of just give you some high-level ideas to think about. I can't even see this on my screen, so I'm going to watch with you guys over here. Oh, that's still on level 4. Can we move the slide one more to level 5? There we go. Thank you. So there are all these things that I've shared, different options, different levels of risk. There are basically people that have put together what are called strategies in vaults, where they basically say, look, I get it, it's complicated. You put your stable coin or your Ethereum into this vault, and here are the 29 strategies we're going to employ with that. Just think about, you have your own personal DeFi broker that has a verifiable track record of, I've been doing this strategy for 2 years, here's my results. And, having your own personal investment advisor, except instead of them taking 1% or 3%, they're going to take 0.1%. And they're going to do things that are very complicated, that use the latest and greatest protocols. And they have a bunch of quants working for them, doing math around the clock to come up with stuff that is, quite honestly, better than most of us could come up with, including myself. And so you end up leaning into these things where, but unlike a traditional broker, you don't need to get permission or go through your bank in order to do it. There are also ways that you can become more private. One thing we didn't talk about here, for good reason, because it's its own rabbit hole, is privacy. And privacy is something that most DeFi, most crypto is transparent. That was one of the original visions of it, is that, well, we have to all be able to trust it, so everything has to be out in the open. And maybe your identity isn't attached to this wallet, but we still want to be able to know that what we say happens actually happened. Now, through zero-knowledge cryptography and some other advancements, many of you have heard of Monero, where I can send Monero to somebody and nobody else can see, but we can both trust that it really happened. There are blockchain projects that are launching, like Logos, a sponsor of this event, like DarkFi, who's spoken at this event before, that allow us to do all of this completely privately. Nobody can see what we're doing, but we can still trust at the end of the day that the outcome is fair, that I'm actually receiving a fair thing for the transaction that I initiated. And so as those things grow, we will get to more and more privacy. It is weird right now that if I buy a cup of coffee with a crypto coin of choice, that most people can see that I did that. And then they can go and see every other cup of coffee I've ever bought with that. Now, they'd have to know that that wallet address is actually me, and that's the pseudo-anonymity of it. But once you figure that out, and certain nation states have the ability to do this, it's like your entire bank account is still visible, even if they can't stop you, even if they can't seize it, even if they can't do anything like that. It's still, the visibility is the last kind of threshold here. So I would expect in the next year or two, we'll have some solutions that you can do all the things we were talking about, but also be able to do so privately. And I think my slides disappeared, but we can move to that last slide if you want, Romero, which I think should just be my smiling face and my contact info. Yeah, do you want to advance that one more? There we go. I'm happy to chat more here. I love this community. I'm not selling classes, courses, instructional manuals. I do it out of love for what it's brought me, and anything I can do to help, I'm happy to do for this community. And if we have any time for questions, John, you let me know. We can ask a few questions. Yeah.
All right, give it up for DeFi Dave. Can you guys get me on the shot down here? I'm going to run around and put the camera crew to the test. They're ready for it. Are they ready? Can we bring up John on the camera for the virtual audience? All right, so we are going to take some questions, and I'm going to invite you guys to come down here to ask your question. And I just want to applaud Dave once again for taking some pretty complex things and making it simple to understand, which is an art form in itself. So let's give it one more time for DeFi Dave. All right, does anybody have any questions on how they can leverage crypto assets and gain tax-free? Did you mention the tax-free piece, right?
I said you should always pay your taxes, John.
You could also do it through a private realm trust and not even have to worry about that issue as well, especially if you donate it to your church ministry. Hey, does anybody have questions? Okay.
All right, we're all experts.
Yeah.
There we go.
Come on down, Mr. Soul Disciple. Extra points if you freestyle your question.
No promises on the freestyle. Okay, cool. For let's just say, I wanted the type of return that, say, like a Roth RIA could give over years and years and years and years, but I, didn't want to invest in that system. Like, what would you say is the crypto equivalent of something like that?
Well, I mean, the funny thing about Roth IRAs is that you're basically choosing a traditional stock portfolio, right? Mm-hmm. It's you're investing in, essentially the Dow or some derivative of an index fund, and you can use tokenized stocks on blockchains. Ethereum's probably the biggest one right now that has the most options, and so you could, for instance, find one of those vaults that says, "Hey, we're going to track whatever rough basket of actual real world tokenized assets, like an index fund of a stock market," and you could put some stable coins there. And you could earn, what is that? 5% a year if you're lucky, kind of a thing,
right,
give or take. And maybe you want to add some leverage to that. You think, all right, I'm just going to do like a 2x leverage, so I'm going to get 10%. If there's a down year in the market, I might lose a little bit more, but still pretty safe over time. I think one of the cool things about blockchains is they're not going anywhere. And even if people abandon them and pull all their money out, they can't be turned off. They're not, they're not going to go anywhere. So it's not like you're going to lose your money. You'll just have to pull it out when it stops earning any yield and maybe do something else with it. But that's a good, very low risk way to track a Roth.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Woo. I have a question.
Yeah.
I listened.
Sell now.
I listened to most of the talk, but I don't know. I don't think that you covered any risk as far as regulations coming through, because we prefer DeFi being completely outside of the regulatory scheme because it's decentralized. There's not like a corporation that they regulate, but it appears as though the federal government in the U.S. is trying to regulate even decentralized finance and bring it into KYC and all that stuff. Do you want to comment on any of those latest
Sure.
updates?
The good news about that is crypto doesn't care what laws humans make. They can't be stopped. They can't be turned off. There is some kind of chilling effect where occasionally they'll go and arrest some developer who's worked on one of these protocols, and that'll freak out the other developers. And so you see some of those websites you go to start putting up the geo blocks. Oh, if you're in the US or North Korea or Iran or any evil place like that, you can't access this. But that's only the front end. The community will typically put up another front end from another country that doesn't have that, and you can access that, or you can use a VPN. So whatever regulations they put up, there's always a way around that, because the underlying protocols themselves, it just doesn't matter. So the chilling effect, I think, is on where things get developed, not what gets developed. And if we in our country are having issues accessing it, we'll just find a go around like we do with so many other things. But it can't be stopped.
Cool. So you're saying you don't respect the authority of government? So what you're saying?
Don't respect your government.
Awesome. What's your name, sir?
Richard,
And where are you from?
Ottawa, Canada.
Welcome to Mexico. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is there a specific number of the yield reward that would trigger you thinking that it was a red flag? And how would you discern if you're being diluted by that yield?
That's a good question. So a lot of times, like we talked about the liquidity pools on the decentralized exchanges, and you get a % of the trading fees. Sometimes what you see is newer protocols, newer tokens will create a liquidity pool on like Uniswap or one of the big exchanges. And then to incentivize people using it, they'll add like, okay, in addition to the trading fees, you'll also make an extra 100% of our token for contributing, because we want to incentivize people buying and holding and putting liquidity into these pools for people to trade. And so sometimes you see for the newer tokens, and you go on the decentralized exchange, oh my God, I can make 280% yield just for putting my tokens in here to let people trade. The problem with that is those are typically very volatile tokens. So they might go up or down by 90% in an hour. And so the impermanent loss that you experience may be greater than the % of that bonus yield. And so that's where you really need to do your own research. I know we're not supposed to do that anymore, and you need to go, well, I've researched this protocol and I know the developers are really serious, and I'm confident that even if there's fluctuations in the short term, over time, I'm going to realize that yield. Versus some new meme coin that comes out and says, there was one, recently, US oil. Oh yeah, Trump and BlackRock love us. But literally there was no proof of anything. The price goes up and down and the yield goes up, and then everybody becomes the exit liquidity. So you really have to know the protocols, but typically the newer protocols that launch have the highest yield opportunities with those liquidity pools. Yeah.
Okay. Pregunta over here. And what's your name besides the mariposa lady?
My real name is Elena. Hi.
Hello.
So I wanted to know, what is the accuracy that you think the FBI pizza tracker has, and how much risk you would personally take
the
on that?
FinCEN tracker, the FBI.
That tracks the pizzas at the FBI so that, it translates into how to invest in certain things.
Oh, the FBI tells you how to invest your money?
No. There's a FBI pizza tracker. It tracks how many pizzas they buy at the FBI.
Oh, the pizza tracker. So we know when
so
they're going
that
to
you
bomb
know,
Iran or Venezuela or something.
Right, and to change your, investing accordingly. Do you think that's
Well, I mean,
accurate,
typically
or-
when there's some big military action, all risk assets take a short-term hit. So that pizza tracker is interesting. Also, I'm very interested in how the prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshi are developing, because typically what you see are initially it's just people's best guesses, but as you get closer to an event, suddenly there's a sharp move in one direction or the other. That's typically because insiders call their cousin and say, hey, tell our neighbor to put $1 million on, we're going to bomb Iran by midnight tonight. And so you can kind of see that. But what's interesting too is because in this age of AI and AI agents, so many people are trading with the assistance of AI that the market will see a prediction market move or the pizza market move, and then immediately move to, front run the potential event happening. So before you even see the news in the pizza tracker, enough of the big bots have pulled their liquidity and the price of crypto, for instance, has moved. The stock market, it's closed over the weekend, but crypto's 24/7. So it's the first to feel these liquidity events. And so I don't know how effective us as just mere humans have when so many bots trade that information like in seconds. But it's good. It's a good proxy.
So is that something that you can ask AI, like a normal AI?
Sure, you
that
can
would
set up
tell
your own
you-
AI bot and say, track these 5 things, and then here are the private keys to my portfolio, and make adjustments. And if you want to trust a robot to handle your finances, okay, some people do. Maybe with just a subset of your total portfolio, not the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Great question. The pizza tracker.
Yeah.
Sounds like Pizzagate or something. I was like, what's going on there? They're releasing the files of the pizza tracker.
No,
right
whenever
now,
the
Epstein files.
Pentagon's going to bomb a thing,
That's
they
right.
order a lot of pizzas.
That's right.
And then,
Miss
know.
Kendra from Texas, you have a question? You want to step up here so we can
Texas.
get you in the great state of Texas?
Hey, Dave, you've really
Hi.
lit a fire with me.
Okay.
I'm totally crypto ignorant,
Okay.
but my husband does crypto, and
All right.
I thought I would just let him handle it. But now I realize I need to learn this.
Sure.
So thank you. But where do I begin? Is there a book? I can't email you every day.
Well, there's a couple good resources. I put it on the second to last slide there. Actually, there's this website called DeFi Llama. Sounds funny. DeFiLLAMA dot something. And that's where you're able to go and you can input any blockchain, any token, any crypto protocol ever. And what it does is it scrapes. It's not like republishing. It's literally just under the hood. It's kind of scraping, and it's showing the real-time yield and liquidity and any number of financial types of questions you would have. And you don't want to just trust them because their website says they're doing a thing. You want to verify it through the underlying smart contracts that, if you look up, for instance, Uniswap on DeFi Llama, you'll see, oh my God, how many hundreds of billions of dollars of assets are locked in these pools? That's probably a pretty safe bet in terms of trusting that versus some brand new thing that says, oh yeah, we're going to take over the world tomorrow. And you look and it's like 5 people have used it ever, So that's kind of a good source of verifiable truth. DeFi Llama is good for that. Also, if you're looking at just wanting to put money directly into liquidity pools, there's something called Dex Screener. I don't know. These kids these days, .io, .com, .xyz, Dex Screener, and that will actually track all liquidity pools from all of the decentralized exchanges to see exactly what assets are in there, exactly what yield is happening, exactly the flows in and out. So before you, for instance, say, all right, I'm going to dump, $10,000 of my, Ethereum into this thing, you do a little research yourself first, and you can trust those results because they're actually pulling directly from the blockchain and the smart contract.
Awesome. Yeah, I've done DeFi myself for many years now. I've borrowed against crypto assets to pay for my house to get painted, to pay for the down payment on a car, to pay for the down payment on a solar system, to pay for the expansion of my office, and then more recently when cash flow was tight, to give a little boost of money into my business. And it all works. I will say you got to pay attention to it. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's a wild ride. It's like the ocean. She's a mighty beast. She can't be tamed, but she can be rode. So that's my little piece. And I want to encourage you, there's 2 rules of investing that Warren Buffett shares. And those 2 rules, this is really the name of the game. Does anybody know the 2 rules? The first rule is not to lose any money. And the second rule is to follow rule number 1. So it really is all about risk management. And if you are going to take those riskier plays, make sure you are aware of what you're getting into. Maybe have a bigger stash that's more conservative. And then the small experimental stash is kind of like going to Las Vegas, except,
Lose the small stash, not the big stash.
lose the small stash. Never lose the big
Or
stash.
turn the small stash into your big stash.
There you go.
Yeah, there you
now
go.
we're talking.
All right.
Give it up for DeFi Dave, ladies and
guys.
gentlemen. Great job. All righty. As our musical performer gets set up, I want to invite you guys tonight, right here in the main ballroom, there's going to be an incredible concert with conscious hip hop artists and the one, the only Dub FX, internationally renowned, total badass that really knows how to mix a groove up, is going to be performing as well. And the cool thing about these concerts is there's all these diverse artists and they're all starting to collaborate, and then they collaborate on stage, and it's just one heck of a jibe. Who was here for the Natalie Rise concert? All right. I want to encourage everybody that didn't raise their hand to come out tonight, even if you just stay for the beginning of it. It's just really special to hang out and to dance and to let loose. And if you're not a dancer and you tend to sit in those chairs and you're like me and you're like, I want to dance, but I don't know. Once I get up there and just start moving, just start like this. All you gotta do is like just this. And then I'll start moving my feet and I'm like, I don't want to move my hands. I'm not feeling it yet. But then once I'm fully in and moving the hands, then it's a very liberating experience. So really excited for you guys to come. And then also, guys, this is a community run event, and it runs on the support of you guys, not just tickets, but we're also asking if people really have a positive impact from this event, if you can express that by donating to the event. It all just goes to offset the costs. Derek and Miriam, they're not rolling in a Rolls Royce outside or no gold watches. Quite the contrary. They're very humble and they give a lot to this community. So we're asking for folks to give back. You can donate with cash. You can donate with silver. You can donate with crypto. And that's on the website, thegreaterreset.org/donate. thegreaterreset.org/donate. Let's honor them with what we can. Love, grace, high fives and hugs, but also if you got a little extra dough to send their way, it makes a big difference. Is there anything else to plug? All right, here comes the one, the only Derek Bros, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, John, for the help. Thank you all for the questions for Dave. I just wanted to acknowledge, I know some of you, all of us, were looking forward to the EMF talk. Tristan is not available to make it. It was a very last minute thing. So we apologize for that if you were expecting that. Hopefully you enjoyed Dave's talk just as much. So we moved things just a bit, one more round for Dave and his wealth of information. So we moved Dave's talk up a little bit, and we have the amazing Brendan Daniel. If you didn't get to see the concert the other night, he performed, and so you're going to get a couple of songs from him right now. And for everybody at home on the stream, because that is one of the beautiful things about being here in person, is you get to watch and experience the dancing. I mean, John's dancing is better than Elaine from Seinfeld, at least. It's for those who know that. But if you came here in person, you get to dance with John, you get to hear Brendan. But since you're not here this year and we want you here next year, we're going to try to tease you and get you a little FOMO while we hearing from Brendan Daniel. So, John, if you could set this mic up there for him, we'll get him started.
Make some noise. Woo, woo, Brendan Daniel. I saw Derek doing the slow warm-up, too, and by the end of the night, he was prancing all around, just living his best life. So, Brendan Daniel, ladies and gentlemen, is going to serenade us with some sweet tunes.
Thanks, everybody. I'm going to play a cover from my favorite band, The Mammals. It's a song called Unpopular Ideas. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas. Your health is derived by letting go of fear and eating clean food and breathing clean air. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas to share. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas to say. Big Pharma runs the whole damn thing, and the for-profit industry don't want you to be well. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas to tell. I'm afraid I have some unpopular thoughts. Your government officials, they're mostly just bought by oligarchic money bags, grinning ear to ear. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas right here. I'm afraid I have just a few thoughts more. All of your tax dollars, man, they're spent on endless war and subsidized oil and subsidized GMOs. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas that I know. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas. Let's throw away the screens, all peddle and fear, and go out and meet your neighbor, and maybe share some food. Finally start that garden, it don't matter if it's good. And go support your farmer on regenerative land. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas, my friend. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas. Your health is derived by letting go of fear and eating clean food and breathing clean air. I'm afraid I have some unpopular ideas to share. Thank you. Thank you very much. This next song I wrote is a song called Tarot Jesus. And if it offends you, deal with it. For the sake of time, it might be slightly out of tune, but we're going to go with it. I found Jesus at the bottom of the rabbit hole again. And he was shuffling a tarot deck and smoking marijuana cigarettes. I put the pedal to the metal on a Monday afternoon. And I wasn't going anywhere I wanted, I just had to be there soon. Dear God above me, do you love me? Did you leave me all alone? Well, the world can seem so ugly when I'm stuck inside the cell of my cell phone. So get off it, 'cause everything is an offer. It's a telescope, and all the while it's microscopic. Some days are better than other days. I read the quote that you had wrote upon the porta potty wall. It said that war is not the answer, it's the cancer and the downfall of us all. And I ran a foot race with the avalanche of overwhelming thoughts. And though I'm buried underneath it, I still treat it like a cherry on the top. It took a while for me to find a style that's mild and tried and true. And I'm not ignorant to influence, I think that I just need something to prove. So get off it, 'cause everything is an offer. It's all around and all the while it's not that often. Some days are better than other days. I found Jesus at the bottom of the rabbit hole again. He was shuffling a tarot deck and smoking marijuana cigarettes. Thanks, People's Reset. God bless you. One more. Okay, I guess I got one more. All right. Otra. Well, I already played that one. Okay, I didn't bring the harmonica for it, but this is a song that I wrote a little while ago. It's about, I don't really write songs usually specifically about people, but it's dedicated to my buddy Jake Gregg, who died of leukemia at a very young age. And I've lost a lot of people at very young ages. And that's why during COVID, when everyone was saying something about, you know, you're going to kill grandma, you're going to kill this person, my reaction was always, what do you think's going to happen? Eventually, time is going to kill us all. So this song is called Time is Going to Kill Us All. I hope you like it. It's for you, Jake. It was sunshine, and we were lying in it at Bread and Puppet in Vermont. And we knew so well the impermanence from all the friends we knew who we had lost. Well, I don't wave no magic wand, and I ain't got no crystal ball. Someday, son, time is gonna kill us all. At the railroad, jumping off the bridge into the river while the water was up high. It was cold as hell, how paradoxical. I found it all so funny I could cry. Well, I don't wave no magic wand, and I ain't got no crystal ball. Someday, son, time is gonna kill us all. Well, I wake up in the morning 7 days a week, yeah, and the dirt from in my garden stains the bottoms of my feet. The perfect plan of practice is to practice what you preach, and you can't get your act together if you act like you don't need to. There's a banjo strumming by the fire and a choir full of hand-me-down guitars. And we sure as shit we're out to make it if we only make the most of what we got. Well, I don't wave no magic wand, and I ain't got no crystal ball. Someday, son, time is gonna kill us all. I'm stepping out on stage for this. It might be my curtain call. Someday, son, time is gonna kill us all. And I'm pulling out a page of this to put it on my grandkids' wall. Someday, son, time is gonna kill us all. Yeah, someday, son, time is gonna kill us all. Thank you. Thanks, John.
All right, give it up once more for Brendan Daniel. You forgot your headgear. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, guys. Of course, this event would not be. One more time for Brendan Daniel, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. This event would not be possible were it not for the generous support of our amazing sponsors, and we are going to take a moment to hear from one of those sponsors right now.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No, it's a clean slate, got a reason. The horizon is closer than it was. I will be there if you need me. I believe that we can grow.
All righty, above phone, above phone. Get your above phone, abovephone.com. You see there's a special coupon code for the People's Reset audience. So shout out there. And I just want to say big thanks to Brendan Daniel for sharing. And I really appreciate the whole Jesus piece. People find Jesus at the bottom of a bottle. at the end of a relationship, and even at the bottom of a deck of tarot cards. And the beauty of this network and this community and this event is it's like all-encompassing spiritual paths, whatever it may be. But I do want to encourage you, if you're not connected on whatever path that may be, to do what you can to dive deeper, because I think it's an important role, an important part of what we're all doing here, the spiritual component. So coming up, our next presenter, he is no stranger to the People's Reset stage. He's somebody that has helped to organize the event, played a big part of it, also a big part of injecting some really critical technology into the community in the form of the de-Googled privacy above phone and above tablet and the above book. And he also dabbles a whole lot in health stuff and a really incredible technology many of you might be familiar with. And I'll give you a hint on what it is. I happen to be a generator, and I know that I'm a generator, but I don't really know what that means. But people seem to know what it means, and manifesting this and that, and I don't know, the chart's sure hard to understand, but there seems to be a lot to it. And I think it's pretty cool how Hakeem's going to present not on a physical piece of technology, but a technology that we can leverage in order to better understand ourselves, better understand each other. That technology is human design, and we're going to learn all about it from the one, the only Hakeem Anwar. Give it up for Hakeem, ladies and gentlemen. Looking mighty nice. Tell us what this is all about. Where's this from?
What, the hat? The outfit? No, this is a traditional Pakistani shalwar kameez, but they're super long. They look like dresses. I was like, make it into a shirt. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
All right, just give me a second here. How's everyone doing today? Did we learn a lot? Are we all private now? We're good, right? Take that, CIA. All right. I think you guys have probably been sitting down for a while, right? Yeah, do you want to breathe and stretch with me? Can I invite you to get up for a second? All right. Let's start by getting our hands up in the air. Feel that sky in this room. Let's go ahead and bend over to the right side. Yep, the right side. Feeling all that feeling. Over to the left. Been doing all that thinking, just let that go. Now I'm gonna whip a strange one on you if you want to join me in this. We're gonna do these hip circles. We're gonna do these hip circles around here, especially you guys at home. You guys get up out of your chairs and do these hip circles. You feel that twanging in your hip flexors? Oh man, it feels good to work that out. Okay, thank you guys for entertaining me with that. That's gonna be on the internet forever. Cool. All right. Thank you, guys. So my name's Hakeem Anwar. I have been a part of the People's Reset since day one, behind the table with Derek and the rest of them. And it's an event that's changed my life. It's an event that's changed my life. And it's always been a struggle figuring out what I wanted to do in my life, but it just happened naturally through this event. It just happened naturally. And when I decided to look back at my life and look at all the things that worked, that brought me fulfillment and success, it turned out I was following a design. I was following a design. So the good news is today, I'm not going to be telling you to install an app on your phone or a new crypto. We're going to be feeling into this technology that's already been inside of us this whole time. The energetic body. And this talk is going to be out there. I'm honestly a little nervous. I feel like this might ruin my reputation because it is woo-woo. But I could be up here talking about privacy phones and privacy tech and everything we're doing at Above, but I thought that this would be more important. So I hope you're open-minded, and I hope you try it out for yourself. But as is tradition for my talks, if we can get the slides on the screen, we're going to take a look back into Above Phone and what we did this past year. So 2025 was a crazy year. We are a tiny startup, and I've always been a fan of sustainable growth, regenerative growth, if I'm using Yoshi's terminology. In 2025, we got 2,000 new customers. I've been calling them Abovians, the Abovian community. Yeah, baby. There have been 25,000 people reaching out to us, getting their stuff figured out, and we have responded and figured out the problems for 95.5% of them. So that's pretty good. The other 5%, they're fucked. But for 95%, it's a pretty good thing. And we responded within a day. So I'm very proud. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful for the support team at home. These are all people within the movement. These are all people that I saw as volunteers, members of the chat group within Freedom Cells. And I invited them to be a part of this company, and they are kicking butt. So thank you, support team. We also released this new knowledge base. This is about 50 new articles and videos on our phone, on our private laptop, and on our suite of software services. It's very easy to search, and it has everything you need to exercise Bill Gates from your computer. You get some holy water, throw it on, get out, Bill Gates. I always love using that one. All right, and then we have released a few products. We haven't been doing much, but we did build this product above share. So this is for the folks that found that when they text messaged someone their favorite meme, that it got blocked, it got censored, right? There was no way to send images freely. So we built this as a tool that you can upload your pictures to and get a link back. And this is how I see people in the future actually sending images. Otherwise, you're going to be reported for having too dank of a meme. So you can share files privately, and you can collect photos from others using the link, and you can also delete it after it gets viewed. We also created this service called Anon Mail, which is, it's like a VPN for your email, if you understand that metaphor, which means that if someone's emailing you too much, you can create a separate email and then just cut it off when you're done with it. So this is some really cool stuff that we released, and we did it for free. This is just an addition to anyone who's using Above Suite. So we added on 2 services for free. And honestly, we haven't been promoting them. So if you do have Above Suite, check these out, ask us on our support chat. All right, let's talk about 2027. You guys feel it in the air? Do you feel like something is changing? Something's twisting? Like we're at the end of a cycle? Are we ready for something new? Yeah? All right, excellent. So this cycle, what I'm going to talk about today is about the cycle in human design, where it's this shift towards inner authority. And we have all these contracts right now that we make. And part of human design is understanding that there's a massive influence from the planets. When I looked at Vedic tradition and ancient Taoism, I noticed that there was this obsession with their science to know about astrology. And I was like, why are these ancient people so obsessed with astrology? Is there something that they don't know? Well, it turns out it's conditioning us the entire time. So human design is very important for that reason, to understand the actual mechanics of how the planets influence us. And it's very, very powerful because it shows you that every individual consciousness is configured. There's a specific design to it. And once you know how your design works, you can live and flow in ease in your purpose. So many people, we live in this age where we're thinking with our heads. And in this time period we're going into, you're not going to be able to think about things. You're not going to be able to Google search your way out of a situation or chat GPT it. You are going to have to use your inner authority. So today is beginning to understand how to do that. So we're going to learn why human design. We're going to learn the basics. We are going to talk about its proto-scientific basis. And we're also going to talk about these consciousness cycles. What's going to happen at 2027? There's going to be some predictions involved and some areas you can continue learning. Okay, what is human design? So this gentleman here, Robert Krakauer, or Ra Uruhu, he was a random dude from Canada, an expat. He migrated to Ibiza, And he was meditating in a cave when he heard a voice in his head. The voice said, "Are you ready to work?" And then it started giving him a download of information. I know, it's unreal. And he stayed up for 8 days and nights just writing everything that was coming to him. He was getting formulas, scientific information, pictures, and he was writing it all down. And that is really the basis for what we're going to talk about today. So it's absolutely crazy. He thought he was crazy at first. He was like, I've completely gone bonkers. But he started to test it out for himself. He started paying attention to the planets, and he could actually detect when there was a change in the activation of the moon or the sun, which are the quickest moving bodies. And the reason I like human design is because it takes a lot of ancient knowledge. We're going to talk about the I Ching today. We're going to talk about the chakra system. And what's beautiful is that those systems were correct. They are valid. And they needed to be unified and extended so we can have a complete understanding of how humanity works. So at its core, it's a system to know humanity and every living thing. It's pretty nuts what you can do. You can even calculate the human design for a plant or your pet, and you can get the personality of your pet. We're going to be looking at a little bit of Derek Brose's human design, and we'll see. We'll see how that matches up. And it's interesting that when you're in a relationship, you can also model that in human design, and you get to see where you're cooperative, like the things that are so beautiful about the relationship. You truly feel it and you appreciate it. You're grateful for it. But actually to know why and how, that's powerful. So it's a system to know yourself and others and humanity. It occurs through experimentation, not belief. I'm not going to tell you that this is some thing you have to put your faith into. It's not dogmatic. You should try it out for yourself and see how it works. That's the only way you can do it, because we are each so individually unique and different from each other. We can't follow each other's strategies. We need to follow our own path. And it's the synthesis of ancient knowledge, like I mentioned earlier. And I love it because it's inclusive. There is a part in every major world culture. The chakra system, the I Ching from the Chinese, Jewish mysticism in the Kabbalah, and astrology, of course, Western astrology, that plays a big part in this. And I never thought I would be an astrology guy, but here I am. Proto-scientific. What this means is that there's enough here for people to make observations and anecdotal evidence about their own lives, but it's very hard to conduct a scientific study. So this is important for me to say, because human design has a lot of scientific concepts. We're going to talk about genetics. We're going to talk about quantum physics. And the most important thing is to validate for yourself through experimentation. Now, these important decisions are going to come, which we're going to talk about in 2027. And these are going to be decisions that are really, really difficult. Things like, where am I going to live? Who is going to be a part of my tribe? Am I going to share food with this person? And these are decisions that you can't get from anyone else. You can't talk to anyone else about it. It is your own unique truth. So we're going to be learning about our strategy and our authority from the place we can actually know if a decision is right for us, because important decisions are coming. We need to start with the charts. In human design, there's two things. There is a body graph and a mandala. You can see the outline of the body graph in the middle and the mandala on the outside. The body graph is what houses your energetic centers, your energy body. And the mandala is the location of all the planets at your time of birth. So the shape of the location of the planets will fill in the circuitry of your human design. And like I said, the takeaways will be your type. There are 4 major energy types in human design. John mentioned he was a generator. Generators are meant to work and to love their work and to keep going. They're like the Energizer Bunny. There's also 3 other types. So we're going to learn which one you are. And before I continue, does anyone know their human design? Raise your hands. Okay, quite a lot of people. This is good. By the end of this talk, I'm going to take you from 0 to complete woo-woo. You will go full woo-woo, and you will be able to get your chart and follow along with everything I'm saying here. So this is the body graph. You can see that there's these defined in areas, these centers. All through the middle, you might recognize those because those match up to the Hindu chakra system. But there are 2 additional centers in our energy body. And in human design, it believes that we have evolved past the original 7 centers. So there are, from these 9 centers, there are 64 gates inside of them, and then 36 channels connecting them all. Now, it's the structure of which of these gates are defined in your chart. They're going to be colored, they're going to be defined in what other centers they're connected to that defines what is your primary type. So that's how the body graph works. Let's use Derek as an example here. So Derek was nice enough to let me do his chart this week and to find 4 of his gates that show up in his human design. Now, I'm not going to show you the rest because I want to respect the privacy of his aura, but let's read through some of these. Gate 9 is the gate of focus. It's the gate of focusing on small things and determination. So it's about concentrating your life force and getting things done. The man has finished 2 books, a documentary series, and he's also put on this event. He's one of the best examples of this. There's also the gate of skills and enthusiasm. It's the energy of developing a skill until it turns into an art form, and then living your life through that art form. For that, I think Derek's art is his speaking and his writing and his music. And through this channel, you really have to work at it to be able to inspire others. Gate 64, the gate of confusion. You're being really confused, and as he very powerfully shared earlier this week, that's the stuff he was going through growing up, being very confused and not knowing how to deal with it, and just resorting to things like self-harm to find meaning and understanding. So for this gate, it's very important to take your time until the experiences make sense. And they do, and they've come into a beautiful unified whole now. The last is the gate of doubt, or as I like to call it, the gate of the conspiracy theorist, where you're always questioning the world around you, the inconsistencies, and calling out the bullshit. So all of these together make him the ultimate investigative journalist and activist. And even though Derek, he hasn't done human design before, unconsciously or consciously, he is living his design. That's what it looks like. So I'm not saying you need to follow it. Some of you innately do it, but this is a very important framework for you to understand yourself better and to make decisions for yourself. Okay, so I lied. I am going to ask you to pull out your phone at this point and download something, not download something, but visit a site. We're going to get our chart. I'd like to invite you to get your chart. The only information you will need is your name, your birthday and time, and the location where you were born. So you could go to one of these websites. There's one at the top that requires registration, and there's a bunch that don't have any registration required. And guys, you don't have to give your real name, obviously. Don't give your real name, but it's pretty important to have a semi-accurate birth time because the positions of the planets can change day to day. And in fact, the moon changes 2 to 3 times a day. So you want to make sure that birth time is more or less correct. So if you go to one of these websites, you'll go through it. There's a calculator. You'll fill it out, and you'll get your chart. I'll wait a little bit, and then we can go through it together. And you will learn what it means by the end of it. So let's talk about definition. So if you get your chart, did you guys take a picture of that? You had enough time? No? Okay, I'm going to go back. Yeah, so it's really interesting if you don't know your birth time, if you've forgotten it. Like, I have a few friends who were born in third world countries, so it's like, yeah, I'm not sure which day it was. It's nuts. You can go and look at their charts and actually see which ones they resonate with more, and to figure out the birth time. It's really, really cool stuff. So that's human.design for those of you following at home, and I'm going to continue on now. So when you look at your chart, you're going to see this body graph, and there's going to be some parts that are colored and some parts that are not. That's the definition we're talking about. That's the definition. This is reliable, consistent energy. You can think of it as something you've already learned in a past life. We'll talk about these centers a little bit, and the defined energy is going to be things that you already have. For instance, for myself, the diamond in the middle is the center of identity. It's the G center, which means you're a gangsta. That one in the land. Now it means that it means that you have a lot of self-love and worth, and you know where you're going in life. And that's what I've always felt for myself. In fact, that center could be so powerful, you try and pull other people in the direction. When I started waking up, I really tried to wake up my friends and family. I was like, come in this direction. And I had to learn to let that go. So that's just an example. Another example is the throat, that third center from the top. If your throat is blank, that means it's open. That means it can be conditioned, not just by other people who have it defined, but also the planets, by other groups, by your pets, plants. I know, it's pretty crazy. And for me, my throat is completely open. So sometimes people hit me up and I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth. And that's okay. It's surrendering to that unpredictability of the moment, to trust whatever is going to come out is going to be right. So these undefined areas, these aren't weaknesses. They're not bad things. They're here to pull us into life. They're here to expose us to new things and to new people. And the beautiful part is when we come together, more definitions happen. The electromagnetic connections we have with people start to emerge, and it becomes a living organism outside ourselves. So if you've ever been in a band or a group or a team, you're seeing these dynamics at play. But if your centers are undefined, it's also an area for vulnerability. And we have been moving through a time where the use of the mind was very important. That was the last center of authority. And you can look back before 1781, where it was primarily mind-based, and see how people were arguing with each other. It was all about judgment. It was all about argument. You can see that in the religion. You can see it in that scientific debate. And we have already moved past that. But the mind still thinks it's in the driver's seat. It still thinks it can make decisions, but it doesn't actually know what's right for you. It's just spinning its wheels because it's uncomfortable. This lack of definition is uncomfortable. So we try to live up to the expectations of others, and it can be really rough. It can be really rough if your parents are expecting more from you or to follow the traditional path. Your mind works really hard to push in that direction, but you always end up with frustration and pain. And that's what we call the not self. So today we're going to learn about the feelings that arise when you're expressing the not self. It's a very special feeling to each type. And we have to remember, in human design, just need to remember two things: follow your strategy and follow your authority. Yeah, let's give it up for our inner authority. Come on. Yeah, feel it in there. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to run through these centers. Okay. So we've got the head and the root center at bottom. These are pressure centers. This is where the energy is coming in. The head is giving you the pressure to know, to think, to act. At the bottom, it's the pressure to move. So if you have these undefined, you're going to have these questions for yourself. If your head is undefined, you're going to ask yourself, do I really have to know? Do I really need to know this? Am I okay with not knowing? For me, my head is undefined. You can see how I kind of go overboard on some things like these. So there's this pressure to know even when you don't need to know. The root is the pressure to act when you don't need to act. Then you have the ajna, which is a awareness center, and it's all about cognition. It's all about thinking and translating what is coming in through your other senses. Then you have the throat, which is only defined in manifestors, which we'll talk about today, which is putting your voice out into the world and impacting. Then your G center, which is your sense of identity, your heart, which is your sense of drive, your spleen, which is constantly scanning the environment. It's paying attention and it's protecting you. It knows what is right for you. On the other side, there's the solar plexus, which is the emotional wave. And if you're an emotional authority, as we see, you can't trust how you're feeling in the moment. You're always on a wave. The second square from the bottom is the sacral. That's what makes you a generator, if that is defined. And it gives you the energy to work on things you love. So short little explanation, and then we'll look at the types. So manifestors have a defined throat connected to a motor center. Has anyone pulled up their chart yet? Can I get a show of hands? Okay, great. A few people. Is anyone a manifestor in here? Amazing. All right, watch out for those guys. Watch out for them. No, it is not. It's a generator. Yeah, so a manifesting generator is its own thing. Manifestors are here to do whatever they want. They're like, I'll do what I want. They don't got to wait for anyone. They're completely self-contained. Really, in times past, they were known as warrior kings. So examples of people who are manifestors, it's like George Carlin. Does anyone like George Carlin? Yeah, so there's nothing you can do to stop George Carlin, right? You're not going to change his mind. He's doing what he wants. Other examples, this is kind of scary, but Hitler was a manifestor. Mao, the person who founded the Communist Party, was a manifestor. So they're warrior kings in times past, but this is the age of the generator. So manifestors are here to impact and influence and get the other types to respond. Their strategy is to inform, because they're such badasses. Manifestors will go ahead and break things whenever they feel like. They'll come into situations, they'll leave situations, and their impact will be felt. So when they do that without informing other people, it hurts their expectations of others. So the manifestor strategy is to inform. You have to let people know about the important decisions in your life. Otherwise, you can leave them hanging. So anyone who's a manifestor, you guys feel like that? You guys feel like you've moved in and out of things and caused some shakeups? Okay. So yeah, and so what ends up happening is, because we go through, we make these decisions super fast without informing people, there's this anger that builds up. We try and control the manifestor. I've had a manifestor friend that I worked with, and it was rough because he was such a free spirit, and I was like, come down to earth. And so there's the resistance from other types. Manifestors are like, why would you care what I do? Why does it matter? They don't like being controlled. So this anger comes up when they forget to inform. But when they do inform, they have what is called peace, this signature where they have correctly informed the other party, and there's a mutual understanding, and they can go about their actions. So the strategy is to inform before you act. All right. Generators. Generators are the builders. Who's a generator? Show of hands. Hell yeah, this is 70%. That's right, we run this place. These are the builders. They have a defined sacral. Both manifestors and generators are energy producing types. That means they can produce their own energy. They can continue to work. Manifestors completely on their own. Generators are a little bit different. They have the defined sacral, and that means they can continue to go when they have things that they love. It's the love of work. So there's two types of generators. There's the pure generator, and there's the manifesting generator, and they're a little bit different in how they respond. So the thing about the generator is they're so capable. They're so capable of building things, but they get frustrated because they have these ideas and they want to put them out in the world, and they try really hard, and they meet resistance. Things don't work. People don't pay attention. They just fail, right? And that happens when we don't respond. I am a generator. I'm a pure generator. And I'm going to give you an example of a second what response could look like. So generators have to know that they have an enveloping aura. It's like feeling hungry, and instead of looking up a restaurant, some dude shows up with food and he's like, here you go. You want to buy this? That happened to me like the other day. So opportunities in life come to them. They're attractive. People want to, they want to ask them to work. So their strategy is to respond to things outside of them. This could be, if you want to take this super literally, you don't have to, but from the moment you wake up, responding to your external environment. You see something that makes you hungry, maybe you want to eat. Someone asks you if you want to go to a party, you say yes or no, right? It's really not about making your own plans, but responding to life. And try this out for yourself. If you start going out on your own, do you feel frustration? Try that out. It's an experiment. For me, I have, and I want to hear from you. But once you do respond to life, once you get pulled into life, and you're able to set your energy on something that you love and something that you think is worth pursuing, you get satisfaction. The satisfaction of completing your work and making an impact. So here's an example, the People's Reset. Derek is a manifesting generator, and I am a generator too. And so our strategy is to respond. I remember when he first asked me to build the first website for the event, and I remember writing this copy. And it was, so Derek saw the Great Reset, and he was outraged by it. We should do our own. The Greater Reset. That is a response. So I remember writing these words, the world's collective response to the World Economic Forum's initiative, right? And here we are today, almost 6 years later. This is an example of response done the right way. Yep, give it up to responding to life. Okay, all right. So who is, do you guys see the authority in your chart? Does anyone see the authority if you're a generator? If you do, if you look at your chart, what's your authority? It says authority. Does it say sacral? Anyone? A few people. All right, I'm jealous of you. I'm jealous of you guys, because that means the answer when life comes at you and you have a decision to make, it's almost instant. It's a biosensor. What we're talking about today are energetic biosensors that know what is right for you. So the sacral expresses itself through sound. For yes, you get to sound like uh-huh, and for no, right? It's this positive and negative tone that will tell you almost immediately. Manifesting generators also get pulled towards things and pushed away from things, and I've experienced this myself a little bit. So the key is to respond in every moment. Now let's talk about the projectors. Are there any projectors in here? Wow, a lot of projectors. Let's give it up for the projectors. Woo! Yeah, the projectors are the ultimate guides. They're the leaders we don't think we need, but we actually do need. They're not an energy producing type though. So it's hard for them to sustain energy on their own. They're meant to work with other beings. They're there to guide us. We're really there to interact with projectors. And once they're with us, once they're around people, we see their innate talents and we have to invite them. Now, I forgot to say this earlier, but we should get into the habit of asking each other questions and inviting each other. That's how we activate these hidden biosensors. So for generators, you're always asking them yes or no questions, right? Think about a couple who wants to go out to eat. The girl says, "All right, I want to go tacos." You have to ask, "Do you really want to go get tacos? Do you really?" And you get that response back. For projectors, the same thing. They need to wait for the invitation. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of there's a lot of bitterness because sometimes they don't get seen. But the strategy is to wait. Wait until you are recognized authentically for who you are. And wait for that sweet invitation, because that will be so much more valuable and fulfilling than someone who doesn't see you for who you are. So when you don't get seen, what does it feel like? It feels like bitterness. It feels like it's being salty that no one's seeing my gifts, my unique talents. But however, when you wait for the right people, and these are the keys to have as a projector, you have to keep good people around you who see you for who you truly are. And eventually, the right opportunity will come when you wait. And that will bring you success, because you'll be working with all these other people and helping guide them on how to use their energy, shaping their work, helping them improve their style and communication. And that feels like success. Let's talk about the reflectors. Is there a reflector in here? Oh my gosh, one reflector. Give it up for her. She's 1% of the population. Super, super rare. So if you're at a party and a reflector comes in and they get like bitchy, you know you guys are fucked up. You know you guys are fucked up because they're just reflecting. They're just reflecting. They can see through the inauthenticity. They can see through the bullshit. They're fully attuned. They're also fully attuned to the cosmos. We talk about the weather. Oh man, it's beautiful weather in Morelia. We don't ever talk about where's the moon right now? What energies are we feeling as a species? Reflectors can feel it. They can feel it. They're so attuned to the environment. And unfortunately, their strategy to make decisions is they have to wait an entire lunar cycle, like 28 days. I know. In today's world, you can't be doing that. You got to go get it. Nuh-uh. Slow down. That's a big part of human design is knowing how to slow down and wait. And if they choose to go ahead, that's okay, but they might be met with disappointment. But waiting brings them success. Oh, and this is something really interesting that I think is worth mentioning. I'm interested to hear what you guys think too. But have you ever thought about when you sleep next to someone, you're soaking up their energies for 8 hours? Talked about the interaction between two energetic blueprints. Do you ever feel like less of yourself? Maybe like more like the other person, right? So there's this aspect to our health. Maybe it's actually good for us to sleep away from another person's biofield. I know, you like cuddling. I get it. I like cuddling too. But you really are taking on other people's energies. This event is such a good example of that. Oh my, you've got such powerful, beautiful energies. I just need a little me time to remember who I am again, you know? So that's really important for everyone, not especially reflectors, but everyone, to get that alone time and be in your own energy. Okay, now we're going to talk about authority, which is all about decision making. Has anyone made some fucked up decisions so far? Yeah? Okay, a lot of us. Yeah. Like you move into like an eco village and they're all vaxxed, or like, oh shit. They're like, yo, we got vaccines in the lettuce, man. Try it. This authority is really important. It's this biosensor that knows what is right for you at the right time. And it can be one of a few sensors, and it's just telling you what's right from wrong. I know this is far out there. You know, you're feeling into these sensors and these responses, but I want you to try out. So most people are a solar plexus authority. It's very interesting, the solar plexus. It's this emotional center. But what people don't realize is that there's a whole mess of nervous system in there. In fact, it rivals the brain with how many neurons it has. So it's its ability to feel. It's the ability to feel the emotions of others and of yourself. And it has these different waves. Some days you feel really crappy. Some days you feel really good. If someone asks you if you want to work on something on one of those good days, you might say yes right away. But that's a mistake. That's a mistake. You can't ride the wave. You got to wait. You got to wait until you have clarity. And so you need to ask for time on important decisions. We're going to get a lot of offers to, hey, come join this project, or come invest in my thing, or can you do this work for me? And it's really important if you're emotional authority to just take some time. You know, they say up to 30 days. Maybe you don't have to wait that long, but the more you wait, the more dimension you get, the more clarity you have, and you can go into it correct and empowered. How many people are emotional authorities? All right. Yeah, this is good. We talked about the sacral authority. Again, I'm very jealous, you guys. Good for you. You know right away. I'll just be over here waiting to respond. And it's interesting with manifesting generators that are generators, but they also have the throat defined, is they will actually be pulled. There's a magnetic pull. And we'll talk about the reason why that might be. And they get pushed and pulled towards things. So I have these moments in the green space where that happens, where there's like a badass Tai Chi workshop right there and a yoga workshop. And I'm like, I don't know which one. And I just like kind of feel myself, and I just end up going that direction. So it's very important to practice this with questions. We need to ask each other yes or no questions. These are things that have been dormant inside of us, but we haven't had any documentation. We don't know how to use it. So you have to tap in and practice. Then there's the spleen, splenic authority. This is also another authority that knows almost right away what is good or what is not good, because it's so aware. It's constantly, this is you know, the limbic brain, the primal mind, and so it's scanning for threats. So you have to pay a lot of attention. It's like a lizard. It's like a reptile. It's very skittery, and it'll give you a message, but it'll only say it once. So it's very important to be attuned and to observe it. But the good news is you're able to make decisions quickly. Then for manifestors, there's one channel that makes this happen. It is the heart authority. And this essentially means you don't even have to do anything. Just don't control what you're about to say. Do we have any manifesting generators in here? A few of us? Okay, heck yeah. Just if your heart is defined, just say whatever you're feeling. Don't control your speech, because the truth is in your voice. And projected authorities, I invite you to read the book, because there's just too many authorities for you guys. So apologies on that. This is the definitive book of human design by Linda Burnell. If you want to, there are websites that you can download books like LibGen, and I think I saw it on there. And it's a good book. It's a good read. And I'll give you a framework to go through your entire chart. It's so cool, guys. I can't wait for you to dig into it. So, but am I just up here bullshitting? Am I just making this? Did Ra make this up? It's quite possible. But here is the explanation. Here's the explanation. So there's these things called neutrinos. And neutrinos come from the breath of stars. The fusion reactions that are happening inside our stars that are sending out trillions of these subatomic particles. Neutrinos are tiny. They're the millionth the size of a proton. And they're one of the only things that we know that almost moves as fast as light. In fact, in some cases, it can move faster than light, which is thought to be impossible, but it can move faster than light. And 3 trillion neutrinos pass through every inch of your body every second. So that's the reason why. How could these planets have an influence on us? It's still like they're hugging us all the time with their energy. This is all coming from the stars. You're passing through everything. You can't escape it. There's no way you can escape it. It's here all the time. So when you think about the normies, why do they act like the way they do? It's the neutrino field. We're all in it. We feel it too. We relate with it. And that neutrino field is changing all the time because, oh, wait, more science. Okay, this is cool. This is a neutrino observatory. This is about 1 kilometer underneath the Earth's surface under a mountain in Japan. This is a place where they measure neutrinos. They fill that tank, this underground tank, with about 120 tons of heavy water, heavy pure water. And going down that deep below the Earth's surface is the only place where you can measure neutrinos, because there's not so much signal on the Earth's surface. So they're the only thing that can penetrate that far deep down. And what happens is that these neutrinos will bang into these heavy water molecules. And once they do, because light passes slower through water as a translucent medium, neutrinos actually move faster. and it produces light. This is what we call the Cherenkov light. Has anyone ever looked up videos of a nuclear reactor and seen it be like a spooky blue? It's like blue under the water? A few people? Okay. That is this effect. You're seeing the neutrinos bounce off stuff. And so what's interesting about human design, and why I give it a little bit of credit, is because they were saying that neutrinos carry information, which means that neutrinos have mass. Now, Ross started talking about this in 1987. We didn't even know that neutrinos had mass until 1998, when this place in Japan discovered it. They discovered it. So let's talk about the mandala. So there's this neutrino field, right? I want you to picture yourself in the middle of this mandala. You're on a point on the planet, and all around you, you're on a point on Earth, and all around you, the planets are spinning. So there's this cosmic clock in play. And once the planet is aligned in one of these divisions, each second of the clock, it is imprinting that neutrino. That neutrino is carrying the information to you. So the mandala helps us model that. And how does it do that? Does that through the I Ching. Has anyone messed around with the I Ching? Yeah, dude. Yeah, the I Ching's super, super powerful. If you ever have like questions about life, I highly recommend you flip some coins and experience the I Ching. This is a Taoist divination method. Essentially, it's Terence McKenna calls it the Chinese physics of time. It's this book about 1,000 before Christ called the Book of Changes. And it covered 64 universal themes about life. It could be growing up. It could be death. It could be finding love. And for each of these 64 themes, there are 6 individual expressions. So those are modeled this way through these changing lines. You can see the solid lines and the broken lines. Now, what's really cool, and Terence was talking about this too, is how this I Ching, even though it was way back, again, like 3,000 years ago, it closely resembles how our DNA is formed. 3 nucleotides, 3 changing lines and pairs of 3s, resulting in 64 hexagrams or 64 codons in our DNA. So this is all about biogenetics. This is the study of how the planets influence our genetics. So this is how it gets calculated, actually. You have the planet passing through. You can see there's the sun there, and it's in the 13th gate that you can see the 13 is highlighted. So this is at the snapshot in time of this person's birth. And because the sun is right there, that means the 13 is activated in their body graph, in the graph inside. Does that make sense? You're really just tracking the positions of the planets. If the planets are there, there's 13 different planetary objects that can influence your design. And if they're in those positions, they activate those gates. This part actually uses astrology. You see some astrology in there. It uses your ascendant sign, and those hexagrams are aligned with that, with the start of the tropical chart. So you are at the center, and human design uses 2 different calculations. There's one at your birth date, the moment you were born, when you take your first breath. There's also 3 months before birth, and there's this really fascinating understanding of how consciousness is formed throughout this time. So at those precise moments, there's a crystal inside of us that gets imprinted with the energies of planets at those times. And so there's these 13 bodies. Hey, could I ask someone silence their phone, please? That's pretty distracting. So there's a duality of personality and design. So there's these 2 crystals inside of us. The personality is when you were born, and it's who you think you are. It's how you know yourself. You'll read your personality, the gates in your personality, and you're like, yeah, this is me. This is totally me. And then there's the design. This is the vehicle. This is our body. These are these gifts that are there under the surface, waiting for us to be used. They kind of come out when we don't expect them. And so those together, the 13 bodies on the personality and the design, those 3 calculations at birth and 3 months before birth activate 26 times on your mandala. And that leads to your body graph, which we'll look at here. But let's talk about the duality. So human design says there is a crystal of consciousness inside every living thing, inside every blade of grass. So if you want to do the chart on your plants, you totally could whenever you had a birth. You know, we know Steiner and biodynamics, this is taking it to a whole nother level. This is why the plants in your home, you have this special relationship with it because they are influencing your chart. And apparently all you have to do to be in that field is just touch them. Have you guys ever felt that? Like you feel some type of way and you touch a plant and you're like, you get this energy? Well, now you can know what that information is. Wild. And so we, as humans, we have 2 crystals. So do dogs, so do pets, design and personality. So we talked about this. And the neutrinos imprint it at those moments of birth. So this is Mahatma Gandhi's personality chart. You can see there's only 13 things activated here. There are no defined centers except the throat and the ajna. He's got the 1762. If I was Gandhi, I would look up that one. I'm trying to remember what that one's all about organization. It's all about taking very complex things and making it understandable in a group setting. So if you know a little bit about Gandhi, you know that that's what he was doing in South Africa to get the native Indian and African workers to stand up for their rights. He was taking this complex legal framework and explaining it to them. So it's literally in his chart, which is so cool. Then you have the design side. And this is, you can see this is his sacral connected to his heart, or to his identity center. So these all come together. We call this the quantum. This is the completed body graph. And that's what you're going to see most of the time. Now, you'll notice that the personality may have half of it, the design may have half of it, and then those centers get filled. And this is exactly what happens when we are in other people's biofields. This is what I was saying earlier. You can actually find the channels and definitions that come out from being together. So there's relationships where people are together, and this is very rare, but you have all 9 centers defined. That's a very scary relationship because it feels so good to be with that person, right? We all have different, varying levels of definition when we come together. But as part of relational dynamics, this is excellent. You can discover why you might fight a lot about certain things, or why one person takes the lead on certain things, or the things that come out when you two are together, like the power couples. So many power couples here, right? Give it up for the power couples, y'all. We love you guys. Okay, more science. Enough lovey-dovey stuff, more science. All right, so there's also this concept. You've got these 2 crystals inside of you that are completely separate. It's your personality and your design. They don't want to be together, but this magnetic monopole, which is a very interesting concept, it's this magnet that only has a pole. On the right there, you can see a magnet with 2 poles, and that's the magnetic flux. So you can see how it has rings around of it. It's positive on one side and negative on the other. A magnetic monopole only does one thing. It only attracts. And the theory is we have a magnetic monopole holding us together, holding these conflicting parts of us together, but also connecting us to the rest of life, attracting what is right for us. And you can see that that element, they discovered magnetic monopoles actually exist. This was just a theoretical thing by Dirac, who stipulated he predicted the existence of these monopoles to balance out this magnetic flux. So you can see on the bottom left there, that's what it looks like. Those are called Dirac strings. So if a magnetic monopole exists, they don't have a magnetic flux like an entire field, but it's literally just a line. And to me, that is basically the internet of people. That is what is all connecting us together. The magnetic monopole is silently connecting us, attracting us. These invisible strings. And that's why it might feel like we have control of our lives, but things just seem to happen in coincidence, don't they? The types of people coming into your life, the same types of people, and it's like you already know them. It's the monopole, dude. Okay, so we know the planets are constantly moving around us. That's the planetary program. They're going to continue to do their thing. They're going to influence our human design. They're continuously activating new gates and lines. The moon especially, that's why it's a good one to follow and pay attention to where it's at in your human design chart. This is something that's called a transit. You can look up the weather and the transit, and I'll show you where. And they can activate new channels in your body graph. So we know the Illuminatis, I don't know. Forget I said that. We know they try to pick important dates for things to be very effective and impactful. You can do the same thing with your design. That's what's really powerful. When you're going into new ventures, celebration of things like marriages, you can actually work with the energies in your charts to bring out these new energies in the events you have. So become aware of the planetary conditioning. Become aware of it and study the gates as they're moving, as the planets are moving through them. Work with it, be aware that it's there, but stick with your strategy. That's what we have to remember. Despite all this unconscious conditioning, we need to stick with our strategy. So here's the weather for the day. If you guys want to scan a QR code, that if you scan it, it hacks your phone, but you also get the weather for the day. So this is really cool because you can see what the planets are like for the day, and it's cool too because you can look at the news headlines for the day and see that they tend to match up. So I was supposed to read the chart today, but I forgot. Yeah, these are the channels that are defined today. You've got the 40-37 channel of community. That's all about coming together. It's all about supporting each other. That's all about helping out the weakest in our group. It's all about the social contract. I want to learn more about that too. So this is really cool to study. So here are some next steps. You can take a picture of this if you're interested in learning more about human design to confirm your strategy and authority and reflect on your life. Times where you followed the strategy, you responded to questions, you responded to life, or you just went for it. Maybe times you went without informing, and trace back your life and see what happened. Did you feel those not self emotions? The frustration, the anger, the bitterness, or was it easy? Now, this is important. Look at the open centers, especially the completely open centers, and study those. Look up the center and see what it actually represents, because that's where we're most likely to be influenced. So look at those not self questions and reflect on those. Now, this is the funnest part, is to look up your defined channels. You see the magic that makes you through these defined channels. And it's just really fun to know them and to be able to share them and to know what you bring. And then lastly, I think this is worth mentioning. I think this is a super shortcut to shadow work. It's honestly very spooky how it happens. But the gene keys, which is another thing that was revealed to this other dude, Richard Rudd, who's anthropologist and follower of human design. And he basically had another download, and he's wrote poetry on all of the 64 different gates. And it's really great because there is a shadow to every gate, which is there's just a deep darkness, and that's kind of our baseline. That's what we come into this world. And there's these specific things that you can focus on once you accept the shadow that turns into the gift. We learn through our shadows, and then eventually it turns into our highest gift, the city. So if you want a shortcut to shadow work and find these themes in your life, I know I have it. It just really called me out, the things that I needed to work on. You can look up the gene keys. There's a book, you can download it. It tells you which gates to look at. There's a separate chart you can read and use. It's really amazing stuff. Okay, on to the good stuff. Who wants to know if we're going to survive 2027? Yeah? We're going to make it. Good news, we're going to make it. Most of us anyways, most of us. Woo! So this is a larger program that influences all of humanity. It's not related to the planets. It's a fixed pattern. in time. And it moves. It's kind of a repeating pattern that moves. And every cycle occurs about every 411 years. And it's also tracking the evolution of humanity. So the next shift is February 14th, 2027. And I think this is a date we should all pay attention to, because we're going to move out of this cycle. This is called the cross of planning. This is where we're at right now. Gates 40, 37, 16, and 9. It's all about family harmony. And this is all about the social contract. It's about, hey, we're in this community and I do this and you do that. And as long as you're doing that, I got your back. So we have these agreements with each other. And we're bringing up really the underserved and the underprivileged. You can kind of see that in our welfare state that we live in. You know, despite the other intentions that people who design these programs have, we do try and help each other. We do try and help each other. And so it supports all these things. It gives us the willpower to stick to our commitments for relationships, marriage, cooperation, trade, and barter, and we will endure in our relationships. There's also these gates, which are the gate of enthusiasm and skills. This is why we feel this energy to accomplish and to do things and to build things and to be someone. We want to develop our skills and master them. It totally explains our age today. We want to be valuable and we want to build wealth. There's also the attention of detail, focus and detail. I like to think of it as all the science and technology. Remember, this is a 411-year cycle that is ending. This has been going on since the 1600s. And if you look back, you can see that's kind of where the Renaissance started to take shape. We started to focus a lot about science and technology, and our population exploded. So it's about paying attention to the small details and developing the science. Technology is a really great example of this, the attention to the small. We had all these big things and ideas and systems that are now just compacted over working on our skills over a period of time. So that is the energy of the cross of planning. And this is just an example. I think it's very interesting to see right after that period, 1600 is when the parabolic arc starts. 1615 is when it started, and it's ending in February 14th, 2027. It's a good time to mention too, guys. It's like not like after that day that everyone's just going to be like, all right, new design, and they start like doing the robot or something. I don't know. It's not like an immediate thing, okay? But the energies have shifted, and we'll slowly start to see this old energy fall apart. And we're going to move into this new piece, which we're already feeling. We're already feeling this, right? We're on the cusp. We're on the cusp. We're seeing this, which is the sleeping phoenix. Across to the sleeping phoenix. Now, the thing about the sleeping phoenix is for it to be there, things have to burn down. It's being born from the ashes. So this is 55, 50, 59, 34, and 20. There are these seconds, and maybe I didn't spend enough time on this, but you notice the little tick marks inside each gate. There are 6. Can I get my slides back up on screen, please? Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. All right. Are you guys appreciating this? Is this some good shit? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Yep, I'm joining back now. Sure. Not yet, not yet. We're not done. I'm not done. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. All right, put me back on screen, please. Woo! Oh man. Is it back up?
They're not being shared on Orange. Here. I'll get
it. Oh, they say. Okay, so we're going to talk about the sleeping phoenix and the shift that it's bringing. It is all about self-authority. It's about ending the bad deal. It's about Oh, okay. That's why my battery's low. I got a little bit of time. It's all about being done with the bad deal. Now, it's kind of crazy. We see our brothers and sisters maybe working a corporate job or enrolling in the military or yeah. All right. We see people taking bad deals, and that's just been the energy of the channel of community, where sometimes we take a hit to ourselves because we know it's better for the tribe. So we're moving into the Sleeping Phoenix. I think they should be on now. Great. Yes, slides are back. Come on, you. Get on the screen. Ah, clap too early. It's not coming? It's too early. All right, it's on the live stream though. Okay. All right. It's on the live stream though. Okay, great. I'm gonna read it from here, guys. So we're moving into gate 55. This is all about abundance, but it's not about material abundance. It's about the abundance of spirit. Abundance of spirit. And that only comes from inner work. That doesn't come from the outside. And we're moving into the 6th line because this global cycle is moving clockwise. So if it was on screen right now, you would see, but it's moving from the 6th line. It's moving from the 1st line into the 6th of the 55, which is the line of selfishness. Now, selfishness is not a bad thing. Selfishness is not a bad thing. When we are selfish for ourselves, actually, Miriam made this point really beautifully earlier this week. She said, sometimes we just need to know how to say no. Because saying no to others is being true to ourselves. And so these bargains people have and ask of us, we're going to put less stock in them. And we're really going to make decisions that are right for us. This is generally. So what I feel is that there's going to be a mass awakening when people realize that they've been given a bad deal. And they're going to start making their own decisions, which finally, guys, time to catch up with us, right? It's this guy. It's not a window. It's the entire screen. Okay, try that. It should be. Can you add me? Yeah, I'll put it on. Okay. All right. Yes, slides. Thank God, slides. Yes, we can see it. This is the full expression of emotions. It's going to be a moody time. We're going to feel a lot of emotions, and it's going to be okay to retreat into the mood. Sometimes you just need to feel the mood. You need to be with the mood. And so humanity is going to experience this, and they're going to retreat within, and they're going to spend time. But once they come out and have a better understanding of their emotions, they'll be able to share. They'll be able to share and inspire others. Then there's also gate 59, the gate of sexuality. It's the gate of intimacy, no matter the circumstances. I'm not going to read too heavily into this. It's a little, yeah, it's an awkward topic, but that's the gate that is coming. Then the other 2 channels is going to be about 3220, the channel of charisma. This is kind of more of that same energy. These are deeply individual energies. So great personal power is attractive to others. This is about being self-absorbed with your work. So you're going to be pretty busy. You're going to be busy building your own thing. You guys feel that? You're going to be busy building your own thing? Yeah? And I think it's going to be really important because we all have our own unique expression in the things we want to create. We're going to be busy building it. And we're going to have this great power of self-empowerment and independence. We're going to act on our convictions, and we're going to advocate for ourselves even more heavily than before. And we're moving into common sense, guys. Common sense. This is here. This is about being. We're not gonna let these parasites suck on us anymore. No more. No more. Yes. Let it go. Let it go. And we'll move into gate 20, which is to be here and now, not thinking about the future, not in the past, but just living here and now, being absorbed in the present moment, not having to think about the future or the past, just living, just being. And also living your example through your work. So those are the energies we're coming into in the sleeping phoenix. And this is my interpretation, if you can make that full screen. And this is scary, guys. I'm not trying to be a bummer. I'm not. And frankly, I hope that this is wrong. But it's a date. It's on the map. I felt it really important to share with you so you have a time box to compare the before and after. For me, this is providing a lot of pressure to know where I'm going this next year. I think this next year is it. There's other observations I have about digital ID, where the deadlines to accept digital ID for countries and businesses around the world, the UK, Europe, Australia, all line up for 2027. Why? Because they want to make it very hard to live in your self-authority. And also because these things that we've grown accustomed to. I mean, man, we have so much freedom. We have so many things to enjoy and experience about our body and about the food we eat. Those things rely on international trade. And so these systems will continue to break down and potentially collapse completely. So instead, we're going to start working on many, many new models and ways of living. That's the key. We're all going to be working on our own individual signature. I mean, it's going to be so diverse. You're going to have to look up so many different things when you go to a different town. No, that's how they do it over there. This is how we do it over here. This is our system. Here's how you tithe. Here's how you contribute. Here's our spiritual practice, right? So it's going to be different everywhere you go. No more bad deals. And people will become a bit more individual. That doesn't mean we're not going to have this community love. A lot of people have this channel of community, the 4037. That's still going to be alive. The difference is we're going to be conscious about when we do it. It's going to be right for us. It's going to be right for us. And we're going to grow from this experience in the newfound awareness. Now this is it. We're at like 95 woo-woo. I'm about to step it to 100. You ready for 100 woo-woo? Yeah. Woo-woo. All right, so this is super weird. I don't know how I feel about sharing this, but I'm just going to share it because it feels right. It feels right. We talked about the solar plexus center earlier. It literally rivals the number of brain cells that you have in your brain. It has a lot of neurons in there. Why? Well, it's supposed to control your autonomic nervous system, but is there another reason? Is there something that is changing in our DNA? That's what this is predicting, that there's going to be a change in our DNA. It's happening us right now, the guys. It'll occur in the children that we will have. So this is scary because on the surface, this is going to appear like our kids are broken, like they can't see, like they're having trouble moving. And on the surface, they're going to appear broken. But in actuality, they have unlocked a whole nother center in their energy body. That this goes as far as to say that they're not human. They're the next stage. They're the sequel to humanity. And why would we not expect that if we came from Neanderthals and Cro-Magnons? You know, those Neanderthals probably didn't get pissed off when humans came about. They just kind of did their own thing. They had their time. So this is the scary part, is that this is just so much bigger than us. We're, as Ra calls it, we're Homo sapiens in transitus. We are here to call on the next evolution of humanity. She's not afraid. Yes, we have the courage to deal with this. And it's going to be extremely beautiful too, as you see with these parents who have autistic children now. Has anyone seen the telepathy tapes? Yes. So that's a big conundrum, right? Apparently, these are supposed to be vaccine-damaged children. Well, do vaccines give you psychic powers? They're superheroes. So the theory is maybe it's not vaccine damage in EMF. That maybe it's causing some of it, but maybe these children were just born a little too early, before 2027, when this new species called the rave comes into existence. The rave. Just kidding. So these beings will be extremely perceptive. They're not meant to live like we do, which is highly individual. We're in our own beings. We're doing our own thing. These babies will be about group consciousness. They're actually here to live group consciousness. Has anyone ever had ego death on like LSD or psychedelics? Yeah. And you like were someone else for a second? I think that will be the default way of being for these babies. And once they come into a group, with other children that are also raves. They are meant to form this collective consciousness. And once they do, even though they have trouble walking and seeing, the level of power inside of them, they'll be able to provide for themselves. We don't need to worry about that. That's what this says anyways. And so this is the evolution of human consciousness, to move further into pure consciousness, where we don't have to worry about this body that you have to keep fed and stretch and move things through, that you'll be at a higher level of being. So maybe we're seeing this with the telepathy tapes. Maybe we're getting an inkling of this, and maybe we shouldn't be alarmed if we have children that appear autistic. Maybe that's part of it. And also, it's very important to say it's not like everyone it's not like everyone's going to be a rave starting. It's a probability curve, right? So the probability is going to begin to start going up. There's still going to be a lot of humans around for the next 400 years, but this is a very long cycle. Okay, so don't be freaked out about it. In fact, we have to protect these children if they start coming into the world. And other countries, and unfortunately for people who may not know this stuff, they might discard their babies, which is really, really sad. It's really sad. So maybe we just don't know what they are. Okay, here are some resources, all the information from the talk. It's a little bit of my own interpretation and synthesis and making it easier to follow. But if you want to learn where I got this information from, take a picture of this slide. How are we on time? Remember, my friends, it's all about your strategy and authority. And even these new children that come into the world, we don't need to teach them to be in the mind. That's the way of the old. The truth is inside of us all, and that's what will save us. Thank you so much.
All right. Keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it going for Hakeem. All right.
Thank you so much.
I'm always impressed by how fast you learn, right? Like, didn't you just get into this kind of recently?
I basically, it's been like a month or two. On these, no, I've been studying it for 3 years, but like it clicked a month or two ago.
Well, you speak very authoritatively about it, and and I enjoyed listening to you speak. You're awesome and funny, and it's good to see you grow on the stage over the years.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
All right, we have time for questions. So you know the routine. Come on down over here, and we got some questions about human design and rave kids and all sorts of awesome wooery.
Rave kids.
Here comes trouble.
It's pretty straightforward, right? There's no questions.
Give it up for Mike the Wanderer. Not all who wander are lost.
So anyway, I'm sorry I didn't hear the whole thing, but could this be more of a suppression of their present being to allow something that was from the past to come back? Say maybe a past that humans already had, but was suppressed, but now by being autistic, they're able to tap into something like that.
Yeah, good question. I can expand on that a little bit more. So it's all about that solar plexus center. And we have these 9 centers within us. Before 1781, they didn't, because that's when they discovered Uranus. Not Uranus, Uranus. So that's when we had 9 centers. And if you kind of look before that time, you kind of see how people were more cookie cutter. This is the age of individuality, and we have the solar plexus, but we weren't completely into it. So now these beings will have the full capacity to use their solar plexus. They're in that field of emotion. And this is why maybe autistic kids can read their parents' minds, right? They're meant to be in group consciousness. So it's an evolution. It keeps going. I don't know where it's going to go next, but this is what we're looking at for next year, quite possibly.
Any other questions? Come on down. You first. Come on.
Oh, sweet. It's Nadeem. He argued with me when I was telling him about this. Okay.
You want to share your name?
Hey, yeah, I'm Nadeem.
What's up, bro?
See you again, brother. I love the regalia. You got me jelly here.
Oh,
But,
man, thank you.
Yeah, you and I, we already had this conversation, so we don't need to revisit it. But yeah, about the raves. And so actually during this presentation, I discovered that February 17, 2027, that February 14, excuse me, that in basic numerology is 9, and 9 is associated with the reset.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it does feel like 2027 there is a very pivotal time, and that date does seem quite auspicious. So in regards to the raves, 411 years from now, what is the correlation between the raves and transhumanism and AI? And also in regards to the, it's not a question, but just a comment on the vaccines and the autism. We had this conversation already, but like I do still believe that there is a correlation between, in particular, the MMR vaccines and rise in autism over the last couple of decades. But yeah, please go ahead in regards to the raves.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that conditions that resemble autism are caused by vaccines or by many other things, right? A million different toxins could probably cause it. And I think the only way we're really going to know is by testing their psychic abilities, which means that if you have a child that appears to have autism, get it in a room with other children, maybe when they're grown of age, have a little bit of dexterity and see what happens. Like no one knows. Like, Test the Amish? Oh, dude, great idea. Yeah, the Amish will be the control group. If they start having autistic children, get ready, dude. Put your wizard hat on. We're strapping off. Okay, pay attention to the Amish. Okay. No, thank you. The transhumanism stuff. Okay, this is good, man. I'm glad you're bringing this up. I really think what we're seeing right now, like the technocratic pressure for cybernetics, AI, all of these things, I think it's a massive bubble. I think within 2 or 3 years' time, it's going to collapse like a house of cards. It's going to collapse like a house of cards. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It's like they're trying so hard. Don't you sense the desperation in them? They're so desperate. But it's so minuscule in the grand scheme of things. I'm almost like not even paying attention to it. Yes, there are going to be some who undergo transhumanistic things. Maybe they get cybernetic implants, but when global trade fails, they're going to be in a world of hurt. So this is about making your own individual decisions. If it feels good to, go the transhumanistic route, do that. I don't know what it's going to do. Maybe you're going to teach others from your failure. Don't know. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next question coming right up. What's your name?
Panda. Where are you from? Ottawa, Canada. And I had a question about compatibility of different human designs, and are there tools to help us organize ourselves effectively to work well with the different human design components?
Great question. Yeah, this is an advanced topic in human design. It's called BG5, and it's about the science of team dynamics and organization. So it's through this group called pentas, right? Even these kids, they end up in pentas. It's this group consciousness. We come into this world through pentas, through a mom, mother, father, son, daughter. And in fact, you can model the dynamics of this family. You can see where it's dysfunctional. You can also see where the kids will get the most conditioning from the parents. So when you do have kids, I think it's really important to do your human design so you can help ensure that you condition them as little as possible so they can be their own person. Now, going back to the team thing. So in our business, we do human design charts for everyone on the team. So I know how I need to communicate and respect the energy of other people on the team. And in fact, I'm like thinking of like requiring the birthday and birth date and all that information for people applying to the company so we know where they fit in. So BG5, it translates human designs into different things for business, like marketing, attention to detail, building, leadership, and you can actually track the different points in your group. So you make sure you have a balanced team. It's like you're raiding a dungeon and you're like, all right, we need a medic. Okay, where's the medic? Medic. So you can figure that out with BG5. You can definitely do that. And you can build connection charts. You can look up the connection chart for you and your partner or you and your friend to see those dynamics at play.
Thank you. Okay, one more question here. And what's your name, sir?
Tariq Bibi, thank you so much for your workshop. Very enlightening. I appreciate it. Yes. Are we in? Yes. Good. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
So you mentioned 2027 that there's going to be a change. Were you specific about if it was a financial crash or?
I think even before that time, I feel I'm planning on that date. That's my timeline.
Right.
But I think it would, for me, intuitively deep down, I don't think you'll be able to get money out from the bank around that time. Maybe right after, maybe right before.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. It's good to know this so we can plan ahead. And interesting enough, today I was late to this event because I was doing a future life progression where you go into a deep hypnotic state, tap into your infinite consciousness. And the date we got was December 2026, something in New York with money. So I just wanted to contribute that in our collective so that we can also tap into our infinite consciousness. I'll post that future life progression so we can all kind of get some important dates so we can plan better what happens with money, when's a good time to make the moves and all that. So I'll just post it on the Telegram. Or
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, because the wisdom's inside of us. We have that direct access. As well as human design and astrology and all that.
Exactly, and it's also changing. Like nobody knows.
There's infinite timelines, 100%.
Exactly, but we need to pay attention to what's
just
coming
a heads up, something to help us.
Are you a manifester?
I'm a generator.
You're a generator.
Apparently.
But in a group, you guys pulled that in.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a bit of everything, but yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, give it up for Hakeem, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Woo! Good stuff.
Okay.
Hakeem the Dream. Yeah, one more time. Woo! All right, we're going to be wrapping up here in just a moment. But we have a couple quick announcements.
Wait, John, I'm sorry. Can I shill one more thing?
Shill away, my friend.
All right, sweet. All right, guys. We've got the Above Phone workshop happening at 5 p.m. in the manifestation room in the hotel. So in a few minutes, what's the time right now? Oh, shit, I'm late. All right, in a few minutes, maybe after John's wrapping up, let's all go over there. If you want to learn about the phone, how to use local AI, how to be super incredibly private on your phone and laptop, go ahead and follow me after we wrap up. Thank you.
Excellent. Give it for Hakeem once more. Hey, guys, we're about to wrap up. Before we do that, my good friend Yoshi here wants to invite you, those of you that are sticking around, there's an event Monday night. Yoshi's going to share about it right quick.
I'm very quick. Thank you very much. Please go to Hakeem's workshop. I got Above Phone. I'm getting 2 laptops tomorrow. It's really important to take this type of action and become a regenerative culture, not a degenerative culture. So with that said, please try to sign up for the workshops. We don't know who's coming and all this. So please try to sign up for the workshops. There's a women's circle happening right outside. There's Hakeem's workshop, and we don't know who's coming. So if you can sign up, it's amazing. We got the last thing. It's the people's party at the schedule. We don't know who's coming, and we have to order all this food. So please sign up. And it's always packed. I know it. But sign up and make sure. Thank you. Monday night, 6 p.m. So we get tired.
Okay. Very well. All right, guys, give it up for Yoshi. To close us down, the one, the only, Derek Bros.
Thank you, John. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for day 4 of the People's Reset 2026. How you feeling? All right. As was just said, I just wanted to mention there's going to be a bunch of workshops going on. Everybody at home, this is why we want you here so you can enjoy the workshops. I did want to take note of what I shared earlier about Tristan Scott, who was supposed to speak earlier about EMFs. I know many of you were excited about that. There was, an issue, so he wasn't able to make it on time, but he is going to record a presentation, and he's going to send it to us. We're going to post it on our Telegram channel, our Odyssey channel, elsewhere. If you're on our email list, you'll get that. So stay tuned. I might be able to post that as soon as tomorrow if he sends that to me today. So thanks for understanding. And tonight there's going to be a concert. If you come back at 7, there's going to be an amazing concert in here. I'm telling you, it probably will change your life. There's going to be lots of great artists, including someone named 33, who I encourage you to check out. I heard he's pretty good. And I want to show, again, the people at home what you're missing, guys. Let's show the outdoor area. Who's been enjoying the outdoor green space? Just loving being out there, soaking up the sun. This is where we do a lot of the workshop, friends at home. So if you want to come, I know that looks a lot warmer than probably what you're dealing with right now at home, the weather, most of you at least. So come soak up the sun with us, enjoy the workshops, the human connection. This is what it's really about. And let's also show some of the vendors. The vendors are the other folks that make this event happen. A lot of the vendors you notice are local. We've really been trying, Miriam and I, to find local vendors who understand our mission and who we want to support. So please do continue to support them throughout today and tomorrow. Yeah, show them some love. All the vendors, people selling their food, selling their services and products and everything. We're grateful for it. That's what we call the Agora. So go support them. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here today. Come back at 7. Go enjoy a workshop. Everybody at home, we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you, guys.
Our power is in our voice. Our power, it's in our thoughts. Our power is in our actions. Our power, it's already innate in who we are. We are the earth. We are the sky. We are the trees. We are our ancestors. We are the future generations. We are all that is.